Yep. I've been posting new new things on the Patreon, just posting the video versions of episodes.
Yeah.
So you can schedule it out. It's pretty nice. So I just kind
that
of
is
batch
nice.
import a bunch of YouTube videos, and then I'll just put the descriptions and everything, and then I'll draft up some and release them about once a week or I think I'm trying to do it once on Saturday and once on Wednesday or something. So getting a little bit out there.
Yeah. Get it?
Do we want to do a listener question too?
Oh yeah.
We'll probably have a short one. I don't know if we have any. We haven't read a review in a while too. Okay, I found one that I like.
Okay,
4
what
stars.
is it?
4 stars, man.
Did we get
That's
a
a great
4-star
review.
review?
It's a great review, though. I don't get it. That's all right. It's at the very top of the list.
Okay. Wait, I thought we were doing a listener question.
Oh, I was finding the review.
Okay, you find the review. I'll find a listener question.
All right. We have so many. Makes me want to do a listener question episode. I feel like it's too soon to do that. We can't be doing listener question episodes every like 15 episodes.
I like this one. This is a quick setup, and it's Lindy. Okay. It says it's long.
I see it. Okay.
Long
Starts
fucking
with okay.
questions. Yeah.
Starts with okay, so
okay.
I completely. Yeah. Okay, I like that. Do you want to like move it? Do you want me to move it to the top?
Yeah, because you're on your computer. I'm not.
Yeah, I can move that easier. I'm moving it to the top of the short answer area. I talked to Rachel. I'm thinking about possibly mentioning the news on here.
Ooh.
Get a little podcast bump first, and then I'll wait to mention to anybody else. So just for the special people.
Just you should do. I know. You should do it on the Patreon.
The Patreon for the 18 people that are on there.
Mm-hmm.
You mean exclusively, or like because you know this is going to come out on Saturday.
Yeah, you say I have an announcement, but I'm gonna announce it on Patreon.
I'm not going to do that.
I have a personal announcement that's like really, I have a personal announcement. It's not about pottery. I just have an announcement, but I just want you to know that I'm releasing it on Patreon first.
No. That's an asshole move.
That'd be so funny.
No, that would be like one of the Instagram things that I mentioned before. That I do not do. That's the putting the big sticker over the post kind of thing. If you want to click the post, you got to go to the Patreon to see what it's all about.
See what it's all about.
Oh man. And I'm going to let you frame up what we're talking about and how you.
Okay. Well, we'll do it together because I feel like you have an idea and we'll just meld our ideas.
Yeah.
I was at lunch and you like responded to me and I'm yelling at my phone. I'm like, Ryan, stop being so analytical. All my coworkers
I
are
like to see what you're thinking in your head, because you could say a certain thing of what you picture it being, and you're like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be. And then I picture it when you say it to be something else.
Totally.
That's why I want to do the back and forth, so I actually understand what you're talking about and start thinking about what we could actually expand on.
Yeah. Okie doke. Listener question.
It's at the top of the short answers area.
Nice. Got it.
Reviews. Okay. Good.
When do you want to start?
We can't start right on the minute. That's too quick.
Yeah.
How about 10 seconds after?
Okay.
All right. I did not test, but we'll give it a go. Let me test real quick just to make sure.
Okay.
Test. 1, 2, 3. I would hate to do that. It's never happened, but I would hate for it to happen.
It's happened to me.
It has? For the entire episode?
Oh, no, not for the entire episode, but
okay. Just with the testing of it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Let's start. That, now we have a backup because we do Skype, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We can do 40 seconds after if you're quick. Good?
Yep. Okay.
All right. We're live.
Live.
Hi. I just listened to our short episode that we just released, and it was one where I did a little number there at the beginning. So I'm trying to think creatively of something I could say, but I just it's not coming to me yet. We'll have to keep thinking on it. I don't know.
We're just it's so late at night that we're just like, hi.
Hi. Haven't talked on audio in a while.
Yes.
Yep.
How are you, Ryan? We haven't chatted for quite some time.
I'm tired, to be honest with you. I've had a little shift in work lately.
Oh.
I have a new person that kind of reports to me that is in India, and I regularly have to start meetings at like 9 a.m. So I actually have to like get out of bed at 8:30 and like start working at 9. And I've had to do that for the last like 2.5 weeks. And I'm like, I'm not getting enough sleep, honestly. So
maybe you should get out of your studio before midnight.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably I need to do that.
Ryan has like a teenage body where he needs 9 hours of sleep.
No, I'm good with like 8, but like 7 or 6.5 is pushing it. And then I constantly like get upstairs and watch an episode of Monk. Right now it's watching Monk on Prime Video. Yes.
First it was Seventh Heaven, now it's Monk.
I haven't watched Seventh Heaven in months.
You are like the living embodiment of my mother. Like
well, I started watching it because Rachel hadn't seen it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to watch this because it's like, it's a good time. Like, I don't really have a good 20-minute show to watch, and Rachel's always watching New Girl for like the 18th fucking time. So I'm like, can we turn this over? So I just turn on Monk because I figure it's something new she hasn't seen. Get her introduced, see if she likes it. And like, she's been watching like Psych, and I think she just finished watching Psych a while ago. So yeah, that's what we watch at night.
My mom loves that shit. Like she loves all those shows.
Yeah. And then in the studio I've been rewatching Shameless. So I'm on like season 2 of that maybe. So that's pretty entertaining. And then I've been like listening to some podcasts more and watching some Netflix shows and movies and stuff. So yeah, just been kind of tired.
You know what's crazy is that I feel like as a person who really does love cinema, like I love TV, like movies, I haven't watched a movie in such a long time. And like I don't watch Netflix anymore. I don't really watch on my phone. I don't like watch anything anymore. Yeah. And it's kind of refreshing, but also kind of like, oh.
Yeah. How many hours would you say you watch a week?
None.
You watch 0 TV, movies, anything a week? Yeah. You don't watch YouTube or anything?
No. Sometimes on a Sunday or a Saturday, I'll listen / watch while I'm cooking. Maybe like
Wow.
an hour and a half tops.
So what do you do in your free time though? Are you
You're
painting? Are you just sitting around playing with the cats? Are you looking out of the window? Are you reading? Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. I don't,
I'm like, you said zero, and I'm like, what the hell is your time spent doing?
well, I go to
Do
work.
you call people and stuff a lot
I
too, right?
call people a lot and talk, and then I go to work at 9 a.m. at 8:39, and then I get home at like sometimes I go out with friends after work. Like last night we went to Olive Garden again. And
Again, nice.
and we had the best waitress. Her name was Courtney and she was fabulous. Um
Shout out
and
Courtney in
shout out
Indianapolis.
Courtney in Indianapolis who will never hear this podcast. But and sometimes like I've been going out a lot after and yeah, I don't know. I just
That's crazy.
I
But I
know
mean,
it
that's
is.
good though, getting away from the screen, I would think.
Yeah, it is good. I mean, like, and I also haven't even been on Instagram all that much either, which is crazy. So I've definitely taken a step back. But I talk to people a lot, and I've been listening to a book, and sometimes I do crafts and paint. I got a gel nail kit that I'll have to bring. Me and Rachel can do gel
Do
nail
you have
polish.
one of those little heater things?
Yeah, the lights. Yeah.
Rachel's got one of those too. I don't think
Oh,
she's used
nice.
it but like twice, but
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. I like what remember when you guys asked me on the trip, you're like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "I sit and I like look at my cats and sometimes I cook and then sometimes I go to Target and I pretend that I have money and I walk
I mean,
around Target."
you like just go and just sit in your car too and just
I
sit there
do.
for like 40 minutes or something and just I don't know if you're on your phone or you're listening to this audiobook and you're just in
Yeah,
it.
it depends. It depends. Yeah, I'll just like yeah, like when I get back home, I'll just sit in my car. And yeah, and then but a lot of times I really do. I drive to Target and, and I like walk around Target and pretend like I was like, "Oh, that looks nice."
Yeah.
And then I walk right past it.
Jeez. I mean, I
But
probably watch like 35 hours of something. Most of that's in the studio. Probably
wow.
more than that. I don't know. But I mean, it's mostly studio time, so like my hands are busy and I'm doing stuff, but there's something on the
Yeah.
TV usually. It's,
Yeah.
old
I mean,
shows that I just don't want to focus on, or it is
yeah.
occasionally movies. I would say it's probably like 70% movies, 30% shows.
Yeah. I stopped because it was screwing up my speed. I was paying attention too much to the movie. Also, that's why I stopped listening to podcasts. I only listen to music now. And it's been
You're
going
talking about while you're at work.
while I'm at work. It's been going really well because I did go through like a Disney phase. Um, and yeah,
Audio Disney or video Disney?
video Disney. Yeah. I was watching like all the Disney movies because you don't really need to watch those because you've seen them like a billion times, or I have.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you talking animated movies here? Or are you talking like
hell yeah.
Alley Cat Strike, like Brink?
Oh God.
Are you talking 90s human movies or
I haven't
animated
seen
movies?
Brink in such.
You know what's funny? I get movies from the library all the time and rent them and copy them sometimes. But I watched Airborne. Do you remember that
Oh
movie? I think
God, yeah.
that was actually based in Cincinnati.
No shit.
Yeah. Oh God, it's fucking terrible. But it was Sean William Scott's in it. Oh man.
You know
It's
what I was thinking today? I really want to watch. Somebody said something, and I was like, oh, that makes me really want to watch Cool Runnings.
Cool Runnings. I got that one recently. Yeah, John
Yeah,
Candy. Yeah.
yeah. Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. What's the middle part? Something, something. It's bobsled time.
It's like Get On Up, it's bobsled time, I
Yeah,
think. Oh my
I love
gosh.
that movie
Great.
so much. Oh, anyway, my day's good. That's pretty much it. I threw 106. I threw 180 wine glasses today. I only have 120 to go before my 1200 is done. of wine glasses.
How
So.
about a kiln update? Is that kiln hooked up yet or not?
No,
No.
no.
Have you been to your
But
studio lately or moved studios or you're still staying in the same one,
I'm
right?
still in my same studio, and I think that my coworker and her friend are actually going to share it with me.
Nice.
Come February, and we just have to figure out how to get the kiln to the studio. It's only like 2 miles.
Is it on a pallet or how
It's
is it?
on a pallet. It's a huge ass box, and I could put it on a small, like a trailer. Like we could unpack it and just put it on a trailer,
Hmm.
and drive it over. Or I could disassemble the whole thing and put it in a truck. But I really don't want to disassemble it. Like,
Do you have a forklift at the studio somewhere? Does the building have a
no,
forklift or anything?
no,
No.
no. So it's just,
Damn.
so I'm not in a super huge rush. I'd like to get stuff done. I did some hand building stuff recently at the studio. I need to get back to the studio. I also go to the studio. That's also what I do. If I have some free time at night,
Yeah.
I go to the studio. And then I come home and I go to sleep.
Did you ever
Um,
post some shitty cups?
no. I'm just way behind. Since I got sick,
Okay.
I've just been like, I need to catch up.
Getting back. Yeah.
So, but yeah, everything's good. All is well. All is well in love and war. Um,
Nice.
yeah,
You came and saw me this weekend.
I did.
Yep. Parents were here. You came and saw us. Yeah. We also have a little something in the works too. Mention it
Okay.
here for the first time.
Are you gonna mention it right now?
Maybe. Building the anticipation up. Okay, so we're buying a house. We already own our house, but we're buying another house and moving. Um,
And then they're gonna sell the current house that they have.
yeah, we're actually in the works. So it's early September now. We're supposed to be closing at the end of this month. Becca saw it this weekend. My parents saw it this weekend. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of quickly came upon us.
So quickly.
Yeah, it was so my if you don't know this about my wife, she always is on the hunt and always looking and very interested in the design and homes and properties and
Mm-hmm.
areas of town and styles of architecture. So like she's always looking and then she had this interest in finding more space for us because we're kind of at capacity with our current house. Our current house is like 1,200 square feet or something like that.
Yeah.
1,300, something like that.
3 rooms, 1,200 square feet.
Yeah, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. So, I mean, my studio honestly is pretty nice, but the other rooms are a little at the capacity. So we kind of wanted something with more space, and we found something. It's not far. It's like I don't know, 3 miles from where we currently are, 5 miles from where we currently are. So still close, still in northern Kentucky,
I'm
and
stoked. It's a great house.
yeah, Becca saw it. It's like a mid-century house, I think, built in the 50s.
Yep. It's got a dumbwaiter.
It doesn't work, but we'll
Yeah,
see
the
if we can get
dumbwaiter
it.
works.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, it
We
does?
looked at it. We looked at it in the basement. The motor was not connected, but it's still sitting there. Maybe we can connect it at some point. But
Oh, we're gonna make that fucker work.
Rachel's like, I want that as a party trick. So
Yeah, that has to fucking work.
that's in the
The two
works.
introverts of Cincinnati having parties.
We yeah, so we're gonna close on that at the end of the month and start moving stuff and get our house ready to go. I'm sure there's gonna be some changes in here. Rachel's actually gonna start painting. She says she's gonna paint my room and some other rooms and
Hmm.
whatnot to get our house photographed and listed
Your
in
house is a
early
bit too,
October.
yeah, your house is a bit too colorful for
Yeah.
listing.
And we got to move some things out so it doesn't look so cluttered and looks a little more spacious because the rooms are pretty small.
Pretty small. Yep.
1920s house. So yeah, that's going to be a big effort into September, early October.
Yeah.
And luckily I don't have a lot of shows going on
Good.
once October hits. I got a show this weekend, I got a show next weekend, and I got a show October 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
But I think after that, like I don't really have anything until November. So I think it's good timing. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I just didn't plan for other shows or I was expecting other shows to pop up and I was gonna apply for them. But it just kind of worked out that I didn't have anything. So Not too hectic. Hopefully we get through these next few weeks of September and I'll be good. So I'm trying not to. I'm getting to the point where I'm going to stop working in wet clay, probably at the end of this month, and then
Okay.
I'll move the wheels over and start moving things over and try to fire as much as I can
Yeah.
to Bisqueware stage, and then move some things over. And my dad's going to help with the electrical work in early October, and we're going to get the electrical set up, and then probably move one of the kilns over for the time being
Mm-hmm.
until I make sure it works and functions, because I can't just be without a kiln period and not have anything to be fired,
Right.
for like a couple of months, or if something goes wrong, I got to keep one of the kilns hooked up
Yeah.
and functioning. So I'll be sharing more of that probably once we close officially. I'll share the whole Instagram post and show people, and then I'll show more of like what's going into the move and all that kind of thing as I'm packing stuff up. So
Yeah, documenting that, setting up your studio space will be good.
yeah, I've got it's a 3 bedroom, but the third bedroom is technically going to be my studio because it's on the basement floor.
I thought it was a 4-bedroom.
It's a 3 bedroom.
There's a
I mean, there's a huge den in the basement that's extra space, like bonus space.
there's 2 bedrooms upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought there was 3 for some reason. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that's going to be my studio. There's also a lot of storage space that I'll have my kilns and all that. So we'll share all this once we start sharing some photos, but
Yeah.
should be good. Should be
Hooray!
good.
Yeah, and I get to be Rachel's interior designer.
Yeah, you'll have some trips, I'm sure.
I will. I'm the mid-century expert.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some cool architectural parts, because our house now is craftsman 1920s, like everything's like nice wood floors and everything, and this has some wood floors, but it's different.
Yeah. It's wood paneling on the walls. It smells like my grandpa's house.
Yeah.
I
like
love
the
it.
wood paneling. It looks cool.
I do too. I think it's great. Yeah. Okay, well, we've hit 15 minutes, so we should probably move
it
on.
along.
Move it along.
All
Isn't
right,
it
what are
amazing
we?
that I'm the one saying that for once?
Yeah, I didn't look at the time, so I figured we were pushing it. Y'all heard it here first.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to do the review first or the question? Or do the review first.
Sure, let's do the review. Okay, this one came from one of those that got some stickers when we did the sticker giveaway from Mountain Bound Pottery. It was a 4-star review. It was titled "Informative and Down to Earth." I love how the pottery community are here to help each other become great potters. Ryan and Becca go above and beyond with this podcast. And any pottery questions you have, ask Ryan, and he will say, "There's an episode we did on that," and then tell you the exact episode on that.
That's true.
Thanks for that. And then what do we got? We got a listener question?
Yeah. Okay, we got a listener question from Lindy. Everybody knows Lindy. Lindy Gardner Ceramics.
She's also, I think she might still be doing her thing that's going on.
Yeah. I think she's still doing her crowdfunding.
Yeah,
crowdfunding. She's trying to get a wheel that's like $2,000, and so she made some cool bags. Her bags are really cool, and some mugs.
She's got
and
pieces
stuff.
and yeah.
Yeah, obviously, if you choose something, if you're in the United Kingdom, it's a little easier for shipping. So, yeah. Oh, Lindy. Also, we went to Jungle Gyms. This is a direct message to Lindy. We went to Jungle Gyms this weekend, which is like this huge market that sells all different stuff from different like countries and stuff. International market. And I got those mix and match the gummies that you sent me because they were so good. I can't remember what they were called. The I can't remember, but the yellow pack, the one that was like the mix and match, and they're like they're kind of like jujubes, but not. Anyway, and I'm excited. Okay. And we did Tim Tam Slams if anybody's in Australia. Okay, that was a new experience for the Durbans. Okay, So Lindy says it's a long question, so get ready, strap yourself in. Okay, so I'm completely self-taught, except for an intensive throwing week. Everything else has been watching YouTube videos and watching Becca when she used to do Insta Lives and Clay Buddies. That's where I met her. Anywho, all this to say, I have a question for maybe Wheel Talk. What is your throwing setup? I use one big bucket, but after throwing around 30 pieces, it gets pretty slippy. I have seen people use 2 containers. I think one for clean water and another to wipe their slippy hands. Just thinking that as a self-taught potter, it's not something anyone has talked about. Like what are you supposed to do? I don't use a lot of water in that my wheel isn't full of water when I'm done. Good job, Lindy. Um,
That's
but
good.
yeah, that's good. But I do, and if you do have a lot of water, we're not judging you. But I do end up with a lot of clay from throwing. Had to explain, but you can see what I mean on some of the videos I have of me throwing. I just, I don't know, just what, wondering how folks throw and if I'm missing a trick. I love this
Okay.
question because you're right. I don't think people actually ever talk about this.
Yeah,
And
this is very intricate things that you can only get from watching people throw on
yeah,
videos and seeing how their setup is.
and you know what? Everybody at work
And just
does it
look at
completely
their
different.
splash pan too. Like if they don't, yeah, like what does their splash pan look like? Is it caked in clay? Is
Right.
it a lot of water sitting in the bottom? If it's a lot of
Right.
water, I'm like, you're probably using too much water. That's a quick
Yeah.
like student check. If you're in a class and you can look at the students and see like what their splash pan looks like.
Yeah. We have one thrower at work, Merritt. I love her. She loves mess. She's like, she was talking to us today and she's like, I realized that my favorite part of centering because my hands get all messy. I'm like, you do you, boo. You do you. So what does your setup look? Because yours is different than mine.
My setup is everything's on top of the wheel head. What's the wheel? What's the counter? The wheel counter? Like what do you call that?
A
Wheel
wheel
top?
table, top, I
Wheel
think
table.
table, yeah.
Yeah. So I have the water bucket, and then I have a slop bucket in the middle, and then I have my pedal on the left. So
Okay.
water bucket's always clean water. Not always clean
He
water, but it
throws standing up, by the way.
I
He
throw
throws
standing
standing up.
up. Yes, that's why the pedal's up there.
Hmm.
Um, and then always use that water for the throwing, centering, all that stuff. And then anytime I wipe my hands off, which is very frequently, if you watch any videos of me throwing, if it's a lot, like look at my Instagram videos, I'm wiping my hands constantly. That's because
He takes his left hand first and then his right hand. I've
yep,
just
pretty much.
watched a few.
Um, yeah, I have videos of me demonstrating pieces and I'll wipe my hands. You see that? I'm never wiping it on the bucket with the clean water in it because it's just chunky and all that stuff. I throw it into the middle bucket and then that will get reclaimed on a plaster slab when it's completely full. And that's going to make about 5 pounds of clay. So,
Hmm.
anytime I'm cutting off the top of a bottle or something to make it level, I'll throw the scrap in that middle bucket. And then I always cover it up with a board at the end of the night so the top doesn't get all scummy and dry.
Yeah.
It stays moist. And then the only thing that settles in the bottom of my water bucket, I never like dump it off at the end of the night or anything. I just let it set. And then all the fine clay particles from like squeezing out my sponge, that's really the only clay that's in that bucket.
Yeah.
So it's just the fine clay particles. And usually I'll dump that off and maybe when I throw all of those scraps into like dry scraps into a 5 gallon bucket, I'll like dump that clay water off into that bucket to like reconstitute it and get it back to slop stage. So
Yeah.
that's how I throw.
It
I
should
save
also
all my
be,
scraps.
yeah, it should also be noted that both of us throw Kentucky Mudworks clay, which doesn't have a lot of bentonite in it. So the clay does sink to the bottom and there is half a bucket full of just regular water
Yeah,
on top.
more than that because
Well, for you.
it's only the fine clay particles
Yeah,
from the
for you.
sponge. Yeah.
So yeah, for me it's like half a bucket. But so if you're using something like B-Mix, that doesn't have it has a ton of bentonite in it, so it's going to take a lot longer for it to settle, or maybe not ever even settle. So that
Yeah,
should be
because
noted.
it'll stay suspended in the water. And
Yeah,
we talked about that with Link on episode 95.
yeah.
She talks in depth about that.
About why that happens.
Yeah.
So and I do think that depending on what type of clay you have, it really makes a difference on what you do with your scraps and like the way you're recycling your stuff. So,
And the difference would
because
be if you have B mix, it
yeah,
will be shorter. It could like rip and it won't reconstitute and reclaim as well because you're
yeah,
losing some of those particles
yeah,
that keep it nice and like plastic.
plastic. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. Look at your clay, see if it sinks to the bottom or if it stays on the top, because you're gonna have a different system. You might have to tweak the system a little bit just because of that. So, okay, so obviously I work all day in clay. So my system is a little bit different, but I will say that the majority of the people at Graves Co. Pottery do a system like Ryan's, where they have a little sloppy bucket and they have a water bucket. Um, and usually it's like a bowl. And I'll be honest,
I fucking hate the bowl. What's the point
I
of the
f-
bowl? It takes up
the
so much
fucking
space, right?
bowl, like what the fuck is the bowl? Like I don't get it. I don't get it. Like I will say,
The
however,
shallow bowl, like you
a
can't dip your
shallow
hand all the way
bowl.
in there.
A shallow bowl. I don't get it. I will never get it, and I don't support it. Um, but I also like the idea of a pitcher, like a gallon pitcher.
Yeah.
We have one of those for trimming. Anyway, so what I do, I have a three bucket system. I find that for me, it is inefficient to have two buckets on my wheel, mostly because I don't have the space. I want to be able to put my pieces up onto, I have props on my wheel table so that I can put my boards up there so I can put the pieces up there very
First off,
easily.
you are sitting down,
I'm
correct?
sitting down. Yes, I'm a sit downer, a sitter downer.
Yeah.
So I put props up so that I can put boards on, and I really don't have enough space. And I have a huge table because I have a Soldner P series, professional series. So it's a pretty large table. I want to say it's like almost 3 feet wide, and and I have my boards, and then I have just one bucket. Now I have 3 buckets, and I fill them with clean water, and I put all of my slop inside of it. So I don't have a lot of slop, but also we have a different system where we are. Now, the reason I have 3 buckets is because I want to, like, I hate throwing with slippy water. It's my biggest pet peeve. I fucking hate it. So,
Then why are
if
you
I've
introducing clay into that bucket? Are you doing the cutoff pieces, like the
cut,
undercut
cut,
scrap? Is that what
oh
you're
yeah,
putting
the
in it?
undercut scraps go on the bottom, but they just sink to the
Okay.
bottom. I mean, the water's gonna get slippy anyway. I wipe off one hand with my right hand on the bucket, and then I clean my left hand with a sponge, and the sponge goes in the bucket. Um,
Okay.
and then I only throw 60 pieces, 60 to 100 pieces with, no, like, no, I only throw like 50 to 60 pieces with one bucket. And then I'll put the bucket on the floor and take the next bucket and pour off the top water and then recycle the other part and then clean that bucket and then
Is the
have,
clay settled enough to do
yeah,
that, or
because I use 3 buckets a day.
okay?
I use 3 buckets a day. So the first bucket and the second bucket, the third bucket, and then I just set them on the floor and the next day I pour them off.
Gotcha. Are you
So
throwing all that slop somewhere? I'm guessing you all have a
in our
reclaim bucket.
reclaim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I don't have a lot of slop. Like right now with the wine glasses, I have a bit more just from the cut, like just from cleaning off the base. But I'm cleaning off maybe an inch
Yeah.
to 2 inches of a tiny little ribbon of clay each time.
Yeah.
So, and I don't have a splash pan either. So that should be noted.
Yeah.
I don't have a splash pan, and I don't have but I do get fucking soaked because this wheel is totally different than my other wheel.
Do you have
I
like a
want
rubber apron or something? Or did you
I
ever
did
like
I got a Dexter apron.
Okay.
I got a Dexter apron, and
Is that one that just covers your crotch basically from knee to knee, and it just like
it's a rubber apron that you're supposed to use for washing dishes, and I've soaked through it before.
oh my gosh.
But like what was happening was I was using, so it's a 14-inch wheel head, which I'm used to a 12-inch wheel head, and obviously I'm not skinny, and so I kind of like move, and I'm super close to the wheel head,
Mhm.
and so I have to put a towel there now. But I changed out the bat because there was a 14-inch bat on it that I would use, and then I cut off and move it. And now I use a 12-inch bat, and that's helped significantly with the water. I don't
There's
know
some that
why.
just stays on the wheel head,
Yeah, I guess. I don't know why,
doesn't
but it
fling
does.
off or something.
I'd like to get a wheel head. I'd like to get a splash pan. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would love to get a splash pan for this specific wheel. I'm so
Mhm.
sick of getting my stomach soaked. Um,
Every day. Yeah, that would be annoying.
every day. It is so fucking annoying. Um, and I ordered one and they were like, "We're out." And I was like, "I'll just call Bluebird." But
Jeez.
yeah, so that's my system. I know that that's not the way that most people work, but I would say that a good system for somebody who is in a home studio is Ryan's system. If you're not wasting a ton of clay, then the system that I have works well. We both also use 1 gallon buckets. He uses a
Mine's a Tupperware container that
no,
just fits
you
fuck. Are you talking about the water
Halloween
bucket?
bucket. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so it's getting close to Halloween. Get yourself one of those Dollar Tree Halloween pumpkin containers.
Yeah,
Join the
those are the
join
shit.
the crew.
Join the
That's what I
crew.
use for my water bucket. The one good thing is it's a rounded lip, so if you were to happen to wipe your hands on it, it's not going to scrape your hands. It's like a soft
Yeah.
lip. So,
Yeah. I
and
should
it's
get
got the
those
handle
for
so like you can hang
yeah.
your wire on it. That's what I do.
I should get those for everybody at the studio.
I can't believe they use bowls. Like, what the fuck?
I don't fucking know. The thing that I hate the most about the bowls is that they don't have a fucking handle. Like
It's just a
like you
bowl
have to
that
carry
and
it with
it's
2 hands. Like you know,
to the yeah.
it's just so dumb.
Yeah.
It
And
just
I like the depth of something that you can at least dip a handle in because I that's how I like add moisture to my handle before I actually pull it is I dunk it in the water and I just use that same bucket. I sometimes will use a different like kind of graduated cylinder beaker thing and do my handles in that, but
yeah. I use Sherwin-Williams 1 gallon buckets because when I worked there, I got a real good deal. So,
yeah.
and I had like 8 of them when I left the studio. So I have 3 of them at my personal studio and 3 of them at I don't know where the other 2 went. Somebody must have stolen them.
I
But
have a bunch of buckets, yeah.
yeah.
Those but my splash pan is not dirty. Like I never understood. Maybe it's just because if you're in a community studio, you know that you have to clean your splash pan at the end of the night anyway, so you just scrape any excess clay or just dump it in the splash pan.
Yeah.
I just hate the like caked up splash pan. I
Yeah.
mean, if I will let it set and just let it dry, and then after not using, I switch clay, so I switch between the wheels, the speckled clay, the white clay. So usually I'll let the white clay completely dry out, and if it's like caked up enough, then I'll like dump all the scraps when it's completely dry from trimming
Yeah.
into another like just bucket of dry scraps. But like
Yeah.
I don't have caked. I never understood the like wet clay caked up like
Oh my God.
throw it in the splash pan.
So
I'm just like throw it in a bucket that stays wet and then it's easier to reconstitute to reclaim. But
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. Sometimes it is better to just dry it completely out, get
Yeah.
it all to the same consistency. But like right off the wheel, it's not that much like moisture to it. Just put it in a slop bucket.
Yeah. So, okay, and also all the girls at work, not me, but all the girls that throw at work, they use sponges and they just sponge out the splash pan at the end of the day and just squeeze it into whatever container.
Mm-hmm.
And I think and I've always just cleaned my splash pan into my own bucket, like even when I was doing
Yeah.
classes.
That
Like
way, it's all just it's your splash pan is just a little bit of water with clay, a little bit of
yeah,
like wet clay from the slippy water. It's not
Yeah.
hunks of clay.
Yeah, but Merritt's is chunks of clay because she's a messy thrower. So like, it is to each his own. But also, I was going to tell you how Dusty used to used to have his setup. Okay, he left and we cleaned up his space because he didn't clean it. And did I freak out the last time about my cat biting this cord? I think I did.
Maybe.
Anyway, I need to tape that so that I remember that anyway. So Dusty, the way he threw is he had a water bucket and then he would take the clay and chuck it against the water bucket on the wheel head, like the wheel table. So he would just have a mound of like.
He would throw it like between the the water bucket and the tabletop.
Yes.
So there's no bucket. He just sat it on the
Yeah,
table.
he would just like slap it against the bucket, and it was just like this like mound of clay. And then like when we cleaned his wheel, I've never in my entire life been grossed out by clay until we cleaned his wheel.
It's just a big hardened chunk of clay, I'm guessing.
It took them like 2 people to get the splash pan apart.
Oh, because it was just caked together.
It's just like caked together. It was so nasty. Like, but he was a real messy thrower and super wet too. He super like watery and stuff. So, yeah, it is really to each his own. But I have that system and I've always just had one bucket, on the wheel head or wheel table. I'm not a clutter person, so
yeah. I just like the cleanliness of containing it. Like, okay, I can get a little bit of stuff, but I'm habitually cleaning my hands. So like clean it in one spot so it's all in one spot.
Yeah, I clean my hands after every single piece for sure. But I just clean it with a sponge on one side and then
and I'm generally not a wipe my hands on my apron kind of person. I just feel like that's just introducing dust.
Oh, also at some point in the process, I can't remember where it is. I want to say it's like after the piece is done before I pick up the sponge. I don't know. I take my finger and wipe off the rim of my bucket and put it into the bottom so that the rim is always clean. We're like really OCD about our throwing situation.
I don't know that anybody's talked about their throwing setup this in depth.
Yeah. It kind of makes us kind of look crazy. Like it's
I just can't understand how anybody could just have an entire caked up splash pan that basically there's like they could never trim because the trimmings would just fly everywhere because it's 2 inches of clay and then there's like half an inch between the wheel head and the clay that's caked up and I'm like,
Ryan,
do that.
Somebody is listening to us and they're gonna be like, fucking Ryan, stop making me feel bad. Just
I'm just saying that's me. That's just me. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
That's our next throwing towel. Do whatever the fuck you want. Okay, so what was I gonna say? Also, if you can have 2 wheels, like if you have the space to have 2 wheels, and you are like us, where we like cleanliness, use one for trimming, one for throwing.
Support this 100%.
100%.
I did that when I just had one clay body, and it was nice.
Life changed when I got that second wheel just for trimming. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I never have to like clean up my wheel again. I mean, it was always clean anyway, but like you can't you'd always have to trim before you throw, because if you throw before you trim, then all the trimmings get stuck in your splash pan and it's fucking pain in the ass. And then
I never throw after I trim. I pretty much always let the clay that's trimmed dry for at least a couple days, and I'll throw with the other clay or I'll do something else as long as those clay trimmings go to dry, and then I'll dump them before I throw on that wheel again.
Yeah. If you're rich enough to have a second wheel, or if you're lucky enough to find one for cheap, buy it. And you trim. Buy it. It'll change your fucking life. And it's like the luxury you never thought you needed.
So nice.
It's so nice.
Yeah, it's nice being able to trim and not have wet clay everywhere.
Ugh, it's the best. Because then, even if you, when you trim, then you can just, dump it out.
Right.
So nice. Ugh. Anyway, moving on.
What are we talking about today?
Oh yeah, wow! We're already at 40 minutes. Um, we are talking about expenses, but like specifically unexpected expenses or like expenses that you wouldn't necessarily, like I think we all know that like a wheel is going to be an expense as far as business goes. Like a wheel is going to be an expense, a kiln is going to be an expense, but like when you're setting up a studio or going to a show, what type of expenses are you going to have that you wouldn't necessarily put on a list, that you may not think about?
Are we talking people that are setting their studio for the first time or selling at shows for the first time that just come along the way? Or are you specifically talking about even if as you've been selling and running a studio?
I think we could do both.
Okay. Because I kind of approached it a little bit above.
Yeah, I think we could do both because obviously a lot of people are setting up studios for the first time or still, I mean, setting up a studio can take years. but but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the mountain of little things pile up, and you
Oh,
don't
so
account for them
much.
because you're like, oh, I just need to spend like $10 for that thing, or oh, that thing costs $25, and it just becomes
Yeah.
things that you have to spend money on because you don't have them yet.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I
Uh
need this.
Totally. I think first we should probably define what a business expense is. I mean, if nobody knows,
Sure.
if you haven't been listening for the past year, um, but like, a business expense is essentially anything that you buy that is useful for your business, and that could
It's
be
primarily used for your business.
primarily used for your business, and that could be the chair you sit in to throw. It could be a stapler that you use when you go to shows. It could be the in a totally different category. It could be the food you buy at a show. These are things that you want to keep receipts for, and you categorize them when you do your taxes at the end of the year, and those get put against your profit so that it minimizes your, or it gets put against your gross income so it minimizes your profit. And so you can essentially write off those expenses and pin them against your income so that you don't have to pay as much to the government.
Yes. I am
That was a pretty good.
generally. That was pretty good. Pretty
That was
good.
pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with myself.
Pretty good, Becca. All right. I would generally say I'm in the more
Conservative.
conservative thing of saying don't put anything on there. It's gonna be a red flag. That's like, did you use this for your business, or is it like I was talking to Becca about this. Like, I got a new phone this year. I got a new computer this year. Am I entirely using my phone for business? No. So it wouldn't ethically make sense for me to put a $2,000 phone as an entire business expense just because I wanted to put it on the business because it could
It
technically
was
be used for that.
$2,000.
Whatever. It's just an example. I don't know what an iPhone. I don't know what is it, $1,200 or something.
I
I
don't
don't know,
know.
1,300. Whatever. It's expensive. Um, and then like my computer, like I just got a new computer. I'm using it for some business things with like looking up Square and keeping my records and
And wheel talk.
running the podcast and stuff like that. So like it is business related, but it's not entirely business related. So generally, I'm not going to do anything that's going to bring a red flag. That's going to be like, what? Like, what's this expense for? Um,
Also, with large purchases, which we won't be talking about large purchases a ton, but make sure with your accountant, because a lot of the times large purchases, I don't know if this is the new tax law or not, but they need to depreciate. So you put them at a certain amount and then they depreciate over 7 years. So keep that
yeah.
in mind if you make a large purchase, which I never did. So if I ever get audited,
Do you do the same if you buy a kiln though? Is that considered a large purchase? A brand new kiln?
so a kiln is a mechanical purchase, and you don't have to pay taxes on it, and I'm not sure you have to depreciate it because it's a piece of machinery. I'm not positive. You know, it probably depreciates.
Because I feel like if you spend
I
$3,000 on a kiln, it's probably depreciating over time.
You would think. Yeah, I would imagine. I just let my accountant do all that shit. I don't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's how I approach it. But
And I'm the opposite.
everything we're gonna mention is probably gonna be fairly business related though. Like you're gonna get it
Yeah.
because of the business.
Yeah. And
So
I'm
it's not
exactly
necessarily.
the opposite. I'm like, new phone, business expense. I went out to dinner with my friends and talked about how I fucking hate my life and how this one customer came in, business expense. Like, business expense, business expense, business expense. Because that's
I
how
am
I was
not
taught. That's how I was taught.
by
Literally,
your accountant.
no, by my friends who are business owners. My
Of course, you listen to other business owners that are trying to make less profit. That's great business advice. I don't know if there's
I
anything shady about that. I don't know.
I have a friend who's a business owner, and she's been a business owner for years. She's a therapist, and
She's
we
like,
would
never
always
got caught yet. Never got audited yet.
we would always go to dinner after clay class, and then we'd talk about stuff. And it was so funny because at the end of the check, if she hadn't talked about anything, she'd be like, "You guys, I had this crappy client." Blah blah blah, and she'd say it for like 5 minutes, and then we get the check, and she'd write on the top, "Business dinner with Becca."
Oh my gosh.
And that's how
All
I learned to expense from. So anyway, I
right.
expense everything. So yeah. Um
So take both of our perspectives with a grain of salt.
Smush them together, and that's what you should do.
My cheeks are hurting.
Oh God, I got something in my eye and it itches. Okay, so let's talk about studios first, because I feel like it's maybe a little bit more simple for studios. Um, do you want to share that list with me that you made?
Sure.
So when you're setting up a studio, I think that it's pretty clear that you're going to have typical business expenses in large pieces or large items, like if you get a slab roller, if you have a wheel, if you have a kiln, and any tables that you need, you know. Um,
Yeah,
I
I kind of put on some things like, you know, you may not have, building these tables is obviously something like building wedging tables and, work tables, wear boards. Like that could seem like nothing, but I don't know, maybe you found something on Marketplace and you buy it. Like even if you spend $10 on it, like list it
yeah.
as something that you've bought and is related to the business. Like I bought cheap ass shelving units that I get off Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, and like I consider that a business expense because it's exclusively in the studio. Like it's a necessity for me to have my studio
Yeah. The
organization.
only issue with marketplace purchases is that there's no receipt of purchase. So keep that in mind. Ask your accountant what you should do with that. If it's a $10 marketplace purchase, I actually don't expense that because I don't want to deal with it. So because
Okay.
I already expense everything else. But typically if I pay cash for it, it's not being expensed. But yeah, like work tables, if you're going to Home Depot and you're buying screws, if you have to buy a drill to make the work table, if you're buying wood, anything like that, I mean that's going to be 150 bucks.
I
Cuz
actually did buy some new things like that. Like I did buy a new hammer drill that I'm like, hey, I use it every single time that I glaze. Like I get it, I'm going to use it around the house, but I technically use it
yeah.
more in my clay studio than I do for home stuff.
Yeah, so those type of things definitely you're going to be wanting to expense. And remember, you want to be keeping these receipts. I always just have a jar on my desk that I scoot the receipts in, and then at the end of every quarter, I just put them in an envelope. Um, so that you,
I use an app on my phone called Tiny Scanner, and you can photograph it and it makes it into a PDF for you.
yeah, you could be like Ryan, who's in the new age.
And
Um,
I just keep one folder for the year, and then I just photograph receipts, and then I throw them away.
Yeah, that's also a way to do it. I was always told that. Well, you just have to have some sort of a trail.
Yeah.
I prefer a paper trail because apparently I like torturing myself.
You would like digging through stacks of receipts.
Yeah. Let's see. You have wedging table on there. The plaster that you're gonna buy. Again, the screws, the wood. Cups, measuring devices, scales, bins.
Yeah. Buy a little $10 scale for weighing your clay on Amazon or whatever.
Yep. Bricks, really?
Yeah, you buy I don't care if you spend $3 on it at Lowe's. I'm putting it on there. I do make sure that I always use my business, like always. First off, you should definitely have a business account that's separate from your regular account so that you can actually keep track of these things and look them up. If you were to happen to forget, like, look at your statement or something and like look back and see I spent money at Lowe's. Like, I forgot to put this on my list of expenses or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and if you have a bookkeeper or whatever, they're going to reconcile that account with whatever expenses that you had and then compare it to your statement at the end of the month. So that is good. Buckets, wearboards. Wearboards is literally just wood and like usually. So, I mean, yeah, there's a
I'm
lot of
usually
wood
cheap with that. I just find wood around or
yeah,
on drywall that somebody's getting rid of and
mm-hmm.
tape it up on the edges and good to go.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
feel
generally
like
buying some of that stuff, but
yeah, I feel like these are all pretty,
easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Like they're not really like unexpected by any means, but like buckets, plastic for covering pieces, except for you should be getting your plastic at Lowe's in
Get that
the
shit free.
lumber department. When you walk out the door, get it from them so that because they have it to cover your wood when it's raining, and that's the best plastic. Shelving units, kiln furniture, witness cones, kiln wash, tools for kiln repair. Yes, all of those things.
Needle nose pliers, crimpers. Probably gonna spend
Screwdrivers.
$20 on some crimpers for the element.
Yeah.
Things.
So what are some things? So now that we've kind of like gotten the more general stuff out of the way,
I'm
what are
curious what surprise things you have for the studio.
what like a mop bucket, a
Oh,
mop,
that's a good one. Yeah.
the well anything electrical obviously, but light bulbs for your studio.
Yeah.
If you have an air purifier for your studio, if you have anything for cleaning for your studio, if you have a bathroom,
Respirators.
yep, if you have a bathroom in your studio, your toilet paper, your cleaning supplies, your soap, your anything in the bathroom. Like if it's separate. Like if if your studio is in your house, the only time that that bathroom would work is if it's directly connected to your studio. If and like you never used it any other time.
Yeah.
So, but if you have a studio outside of home, then that's important to.
Yeah. Like if you like bought a new utility sink to have water in your studio or something.
Yeah. Yeah. A fun one is like a microphone, like some sort of speaker for music, a Spotify account for music.
Really?
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't
fuck
think of
yeah.
that. I didn't think of
Fuck
that.
yes, my Spotify has been a business expense since day one.
Okay. That's passing time. It's keeping you sane.
Yeah, if you watch Netflix, your Netflix account, like you can at least
Everything
write
she's
half.
listing right here about Spotify, Netflix, the TV that's sitting in my studio, I did not expense that stuff, but
Yeah, but you should.
could maybe.
Good. If you're Tim Kowalczyk, is it Kowalczyk? Cardboard Tim, VHS tapes, and then
The 5-cent VHS tapes.
yeah. Yeah, no, I think that
The
those are what?
I was thinking of the like if you get like an Archon mount or a tripod or
Oh,
something for photographing your stuff or
absolutely.
doing your Instagram videos and all that. Like if you get a mount like that, expense that.
if you get like a GoPro or whatever to do videos on, if you get a camera for taking pictures of your pieces, gosh, there's so many things
I mean,
that
I've got a bunch of stuff that's just in the studio. If it's like we might be going into the show territory, but like bins that you
yeah.
keep organized pieces with on your shelving, or like the wax that I use for my
Mm-hmm.
pieces that I wax, and the skillet and the hot plate things that
Oh yeah,
I
the hot plate, yeah.
use. Basically anything. It's easy because my studio is contained in a space that's dedicated. But
Yeah.
basically anything that's in that space, I can technically consider a business expense.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I have a washer dryer in there too, so like I'm
Yeah.
not expensing like detergent, but I mean you could
Yeah,
if you're washing your aprons and towels and shit, but
totally. But put those in a
uh,
bucket first. Because if it's at your house, you do not want to clog your pipes. Um,
yeah.
also, I feel like I should mention, I know for some of us, this seems like super common sense, but I know there are people out there that don't know this stuff. So I think that's why we are talking about it today, So some of the veteran people will probably be like, fuck this show. Fuck this episode. But yeah, I mean, I'm like looking around Rebecca's studio right now, and there's
Printer. If you have a
printer,
printer that you like, a Rolo printer that you print your labels with, or a laser printer that you're printing your packing stuff with.
decals,
Obviously your boxes, your
yeah, or your decals. You can write off your paper, you can write off your labels. If you have a fucking couch in your studio, you can write that off. Like,
I didn't. That was a
well,
Facebook
yeah,
Marketplace purchase too, though.
yeah, that was,
Probably paid in
yeah.
cash.
But your chair, obviously your clay, but that's obvious. Um, yeah, I think let's see if there's anything else that's like small but mighty. Hmm.
I don't know. What do other people have in their studios? I mean, basically anything you have to construct. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yeah, like expensive.
Yeah. I think that like, the weird stuff like buckets and um like the weird normal stuff, that you would buy.
That you're like, I spent $10. It's
Like who
whatever.
cares? Yeah. But like
I
those
say
add
put
up.
that on there. Yeah.
It adds up a lot. It's like when we get to shows, like buying a fucking stapler, you know? Like buying a stapler you wouldn't think that is a
I didn't even
business.
know people fucking use staplers anymore, but I guess they do.
I have a stapler and a tape dispenser in my
What are
box
you using a stapler for at a show?
to staple paper.
For what?
I don't know.
You don't fucking use it.
I I have a tape dispenser that I use all the time.
Yeah, cause I mean I could picture that. You're probably taping up like the packing paper as you wrap
Yeah.
stuff.
But I have had staplers and I have used them frequently for things.
I mean, I
I,
just don't see it unless you're stapling like a paper
well,
receipt, like a
it is
rip the
that's what it
receipt and
is.
staple it to the bag. Like what do you?
That's what it is. Like, or stapling a bag shut or something like that. Because of the art in the park, we had paper receipts. But
Okay,
so I mean, like, yeah, that's a little bit particular.
that's very specific. I
Yeah,
just write their fucking name on the bag, but all right,
but yeah.
gotcha.
So yeah, I don't think that there's anything else. I don't think. I don't. Meh.
I
What do
don't
you
think
think?
so.
No.
I mean, I'm thinking of some things that I could add as expenses. Like, I never thought of the studio TV, but I mean, it could because it's like it's in the studio.
Yeah.
Whatever, buy it
Oh,
on
I will
wherever.
say that
And,
if you watch Net, like if I said Netflix, you can expense. If you watch Netflix at home, not at work, you'd have to split it 50-50. But
or based on the hours that you watch it in two places.
yeah, if you want to be
Would
super.
you? Here's an interesting one. Would you expense Prime, Amazon Prime, as a business expense?
Yeah. Yes. Are you kidding me? Obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
We
half of
share
my
we
supplies.
share ours with a couple of us, so it's
Yeah, half of my supplies come from Amazon Prime.
yeah. They have
Supplies,
Prime
not
Video too.
sourcing.
You could be like watching Prime Video, so it's like part of it.
That's part
Prime
of it.
Amazon Music, it's all part of it.
It's all part of it. Amazon Music is a joke.
It is kind of like you pull it up, you play the same '90s country station, and I can guarantee the first song in mine is going to be Garth Brooks' "Friends in Low Places." Like 4 out of 5 times, that first song is always going to be, "Hey Alexa, play this." Garth Brooks, "Low Friends in Low Places." It's
Or
gonna
like
be it.
you say like, "Hey Alexa, play jazz," and it plays fucking R&B hip hop. And I'm like, "No."
Fucking Nora Jones station. First song is always, "Come Away with Me" or whatever. Don't know why. I think it's "Don't Know Why" is the first song. Always guaranteed.
Always.
Like, shuffle this shit. Come on. Change your algorithm every year or something.
God.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's good. If anything happens, oh, I know. Like when you built that wall in your studio, that's a fucking expense that you did not expense, but you should have. Um,
Yeah, I talked to my accountant person about that. They said because it was technically like a housing addition, that it's
mm,
supposed to be like. I also asked them right when I was filing my taxes, so that was probably not the ample
yeah,
time to be asking that.
yeah,
Because I'm like, hey, can I just add this $2,000 expense on there so I have less profit
yeah.
right when I'm about to do it, you know? Um,
No, go away.
he's like, yeah, we could, but it's part of the house and you got to depreciate it and all this shit. And then what happens if you sell the house? You got to like take it off there and all that shit. So it's like, all right, whatever.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. If you sell the house, that's a good point.
Yeah. I'm sure there's things with vehicles and stuff too of how that would work. You know, if you use your vehicle entirely for business or not. So I just do the mileage thing because I
Yeah,
use it for both. Um, obviously, if you have business insurance, that's 100% business.
obviously. QuickBooks, expense. Okay, let's go to art shows. Let's do the list that I feel like is fairly obvious.
All right, go ahead.
No, you
What's
go.
the obvious?
No, you go.
Because that's my entire list is obvious shit.
No, I did the studio. You do the
All right,
shows.
all right. Art shows, obvious stuff. You need a tent. You need weights.
Hmm.
Whether you construct those weights and build them yourself and buy stuff at Lowe's, or you just buy like bags off of Amazon and you fill them with sand.
Hmm.
You got the shelving tables, whatever you have. You know, I don't know if you have standing shelving that you got to construct, or you buy IKEA shelves and you construct them, or whatever. The wrapping paper you use to wrap the pots up in, I just got one of those like rolling things with the metal ripper. Very um, highly recommend. Thanks, Becca.
Hmm.
That thing is sped up wrapping so much. Bungee cords, things like that that you're holding those tent weights on or whatever. Definitely have those bungee cords for shows. The chair that you're sitting in, I would say like invest in a good chair. A good chair is underestimated.
Agreed. Agreed.
But some people come out with those folding metal chairs. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You've never sold before. Get a better chair. Like you're gonna be sitting in
Save
that
your
all
bottom.
day. Yeah. I mean, or the one thing that I would say is consider getting a chair that is not a typical table chair that's like a
Higher.
regular level. Get a higher one that's like a director's chair or like a stool that's a little bit higher so that you're elevated. For one, I have on here like the little like table risers. I have those that are like technically bed risers for so your bed, you can fit more stuff under your bed, like lofted a little bit. I use those for my tables, so they lift them up like 4 to 6 inches. And then the table is at like 36 inches or 34 inches or something like that. So it's not like too low for people. And then that's where if your chair is lower, you're going to be like sitting down and you're going to be looking up at people, which is kind of weird. I would much rather be like at eye level with them while I'm sitting than be
Yeah.
sitting down and looking up at them. It's just kind of I don't know. It just feels like more professional, and it feels like it's not like out of your way to have to stand up if you're already at eye level. So get a good chair. Spend some money. I don't know.
Get a good chair.
You can get a good director's chair for like $35, or I think I got mine off Amazon or
I love
Facebook
how you're like,
Marketplace.
spend some money. $35.
$35. I don't care.
$35.
I don't know. I'm just saying, don't spend like $10 on a folding chair or whatever. Like, or use a. Yeah, we got the chair, the whatever you're gonna keep your money in. I have a cash box. I actually got that from my grandfather. It's like an old cash box. It's pretty cool, metal one.
I use bags because you can walk away with them.
Like one of the old school like money bags with the zip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
I got one from Chase. They'll give you one for free.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of times they will. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
You just
bank
ask
with
them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Money bag.
Nice.
I mean,
like a bag. Can you fill the money bag and can you
can I have the money bag full, please? I have since.
Do you offer this in the full option?
I have since gotten bags that are handmade, but yeah, I started with the money bag.
The handmade one's probably a little bit more inconspicuous, I would guess, right? It looks more
like.
Plus, you're female, so some people could think it's like a purse or something.
Yeah, you can like fold it in half, stick it in a sweatshirt, and go to the bathroom or whatever if you need to, or just it's really easy to hide,
Yeah. Some people have like fanny packs these days. I feel like I see some sellers with those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems convenient. Or like some people have like aprons or something like that.
Yeah, aprons and just a wad of cash.
I'm not a fan of just a wad of cash, but yeah, something to like keep it close.
Yep.
Yeah, the bins for your work, obviously. I use a lot of like plastic bins. Starting out, you might have a bunch of cardboard and paper and stuff like that. Whatever you're packing stuff with, if you need to get some better, like thicker foam wrap or something, like it might be worth paying for that if it's going to keep your pieces, because you're going to use it show after show after show. So you're going to buy it once. It's going to have a lot of longevity. You're not wrapping pieces up and giving it to customers like that. You're just keeping your pieces safe in the boxes. So
I forgot something for the studio.
Okay.
If you don't get a microphone, earphones. You can expense those.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, like I only use my earphones at work, so.
I hate earphones with studio stuff. It's probably just because I'm used to.
That's because you work alone.
I work alone, and yeah, obviously, if you're in a studio, if I was in a studio, I would probably just go the AirPod route.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely not have the over the ear things. I just hate the heat and just like confinement of my ears like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Good. Okay, continue.
The bags. I mentioned the table risers, tablecloths, or however you're going to display your table to look good. Tablecloths, the burlap or whatever you display stuff with. I mentioned tent weights, square reader. It actually might be what?
Fan.
Yeah, the battery powered fans on here. I bought a couple of those at Lowe's recently.
Mm-hmm.
Those will definitely be worth the expense, and you will be very happy you bought those in the summer. Depending on where you sell. I don't know where you live, but if you have hot summers, definitely get the battery powered fan. And also the square reader. If you're thinking about investing in that chip dip one, like the $50 one from, it's like a chip and you dip it and it's got the Apple Pay and all that stuff.
You don't dip it, okay? It's not a chip dip. It's not.
No, it's sometimes they say dip your card.
Okay.
Or dip your chip. I don't know. You've never heard that? You've never heard that, like, dip your card in?
No.
Insert your card.
Insert your card. Slide your card.
Whatever.
Anyway.
It's worth it. It's worth it to do that. I do that for customers, 100%. And it's like, you don't have to swipe it multiple times. You just dip it once. It's like, hey. Customers are like, "Oh, are we done?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're done. It's
or
over."
even like the tap to pay.
Yeah, a lot of those are doing the tap. I started putting it in my shirt pocket because I like tend to sit it on my table and like lose it as I'm going around. Yeah. So I like put it in my shirt pocket, and some of them are tapped, so I could just like tap it right here on my shirt. So I don't have to take it out. It's kind of weird, but I did that a couple times recently.
Also I like to put Velcro on the back of it. And like put it so you can Velcro it to the table and you can just be like, you can insert it right here.
Yeah. Some people, I feel like I don't have a designated spot on the table.
Yeah, like if
Because
you have a
sometimes you have,
designated.
sometimes you have people that are coming from this side, and I like to be able to like hold it out. Some people want to dip it themselves. Some people want to like want me to do it. So it's like whatever. I'll just hold on to it. Um, you and this dip and chips and stuff. You're like, now I want some guacamole. Um, all right, business
Oh.
cards, obviously, if you're paying for those, printing those,
Mm-hmm.
however you do those. Um, I have a bunch of stuff that I give after my sale, whether it's like a thank you note or my business info or whatever. I print that stuff out, expense that. Um, fan, cooler, if you're taking stuff to shows and you're
Food.
packing lunches and stuff, the food you buy and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, those are the obvious things.
Okay. I am a big fan of not using my personal cell phone for shows.
Really?
If yeah, if you have the money to buy like a cheap ass iPad, like iPad mini, I'm a huge fan of using that instead because the battery is usually longer. Um, and you can always hook it up to your phone for internet, or you can get the ones with the internet on them.
Hmm.
But or you can use like an old phone or something like that and hook it up to the Wi-Fi or the. A lot of places have Wi-Fi. Like if you're
So
doing
you
indoor.
don't so you don't use the cellular, you don't buy the cellular one where you have to pay a plan for it. You just pay outright for the iPad.
I mean,
Pay
I'm
it and
like
done.
like I have a few cellular, like an Android tablet that's cellular, that I
Yeah.
don't pay the plan on, but I do have it. You know, um,
I like that option.
Yeah, it's been like if you are doing shows frequently and it makes sense, buying a cheapo tablet with a cellular plan is amazing because then your phone's not dying. You're not accidentally handing a phone to a customer and a text pops up, you
I
know.
never hand my phone to the customer.
Well, like to sign.
Nope, turn that
Okay.
off. You don't need to
Oh
do that
yeah, you have
anymore.
like if I like or whatever and
I do
I don't
hate the
know.
annoying Instagram messages that'll like pop down the notifications, but I'll
Yeah.
just pause the Instagram notifications for like 4 or 8 hours or whatever so nothing comes up. Or turn on
Yeah.
do not disturb or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan of having like an alternative device to do all of the sales on. Um, but
I do
it's
like the
definitely
square thing. I feel like putting an iPad in the little square holder and stuff, it like
yeah.
looks better. You can
Oh
actually
yeah.
put the chip thing
Yeah.
mounted on it or whatever.
Yeah. I had one of those for the shop and it was great. And yeah, it's just it's a little bit more professional. It's definitely a luxury to have, but if you can afford it and if you can,
Did
if
you
it's
did you
a
buy that from Square or was that an iPad like holder and you just bought the iPad and put it in there?
Yeah, I got like an iPad holder on Amazon and then put it in
Okay.
there. And then when I got an Android tablet, we just retrofitted it.
Gotcha. Okay. But does
But
Square offer an option that is actually like their technology?
yeah, but that's a lot.
Yeah, I would
So
think so. You probably pay
like
monthly to
like
like
four
rent
hundred
it
dollars or
or you
something.
pay
Yeah.
outright, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
So
basically a cheap iPad.
yeah,
Like
so I'm a big fan of that. That's definitely a luxury, but if it can be done and if you have a little extra money to spend, it's nice. Nice to have. Um Pens, paper, anything that's like office supplies that you need. Also, if you were going to buy an iPad and do the cellular plan, that cellular plan would be an expense, obviously. Um, yeah, like when you're driving to and from, if you are driving to a location and you're staying there for the weekend, everything that weekend is an expense. That Airbnb, the pizza you picked
dinner,
up that night,
yeah,
the drinks that you bought, the you know, the gas that you
whatever.
bought when you were there. Yeah, like well, maybe not the gas, but everything is expense.
Yeah.
From the time you get there to the time you leave. Uh
The gas thing
and
depends on if you're doing the expense by the gas and maintenance and stuff or you're doing the mileage. So, depending on
yeah,
how you expense
there's
your
like
vehicle
there's one
stuff.
loophole. There's one loophole and I can't remember which one it is for the gas. And I feel like there's like a weird little loophole, but we won't get into that. Yes. What else? I mean,
That's really
technically,
the only time I'll expense meals because I talked with my accountant person and they were saying
hmm
the meals that you should be expensing are ones like I can't even stop at a place on the way home from a show that's local that I'm going back home and I get something at Wendy's after.
yeah,
Like technically I'm not supposed to because it's local to my home and I have access to get food because it's 15 minutes from home. I
yeah,
will do it if it's out of town. If it's like Lexington or Louisville,
yeah,
I will expense it.
yeah. Uh, Gosh, I just had something and I lost it. Um, oh no, awkward silence. Uh,
Silence is okay sometimes.
is it though on the podcast?
On a podcast? I mean, I don't know. If you
No.
listen to 1.5 times, it's not as long.
Ugh. Oh, I was gonna say if you buy, okay, this is a controversial thing, but I would
What's
say
coming?
if you're gonna buy pots from other people, you can usually expense that, and the reason is
I'm shaking my head vigorously.
vigorously. The reason is it's research and development.
That's a fucking stretch. That is a fucking stretch. The thing is, I get if you're buying a certain thing. Like I've bought an apron from a handmade
Mm,
printmaker
yeah,
that I have used in the studio. I expense that. If you're
yeah.
putting artwork in your studio, that is part of your studio, like aesthetic, I would say you can expense that confidently. Like that's part of your studio. I don't think that's a luxury that's not like if I'm putting things in my office here that's art, like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna expense that because it's not
Mm.
in the studio. But if it's in the studio, I would consider it.
Oh, plants in the studio for sure. You can expense those. Just have all the plants in the studio. I live in a jungle.
As long as you can keep them alive.
I work in a jungle. Yeah, I feel like shows are pretty straightforward, but like, pens, if you use tape, like, the tape for packages and stuff, cardboard if you need it for boxes, bags for your
Hmm.
for your shows.
I had a question. When you're
Yes.
at a show and you buy something from somebody, are you generally taking cash from your sales and
Yeah, then
paying
I
for
won't
it with
expense
cash?
it
Yeah.
generally, or
Or,
I'm trading.
okay. Usually I just pay with my credit card,
Yeah.
so it's not like business expense that way. Because I don't
Yeah.
really like just forking over $50 or whatever in cash from my drawer, so I
Right.
don't do that.
Yeah.
But I'll pay for lunch at the show with it, like cash. I feel like
Yeah.
that's pretty low risk. It's not really a big deal.
Low risk, high reward.
Yeah, I mean it's like, hey, I'm physically here. I got to eat something, so like, you know,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't feel like there's super a ton of like hidden expenses in shows necessarily. Maybe like blankets or something if you're in the cold weather.
yeah.
And
I mean, basically anything with your tent, like the tent walls, the Oh, did
I
you
feel
want to
like
mention the
shows.
thing about the show thing that we saw this weekend that Isaac experienced that maybe is an expense that's worth it? That you could
Mm,
use to keep yourself from rain issues?
yes. Noodles, pool noodles.
Pool noodles. What do you do with pool noodles, Becca? Besides swimming in the puddles outside of your tent when it's raining?
When it's raining. Yeah, poor Isaac. Uh, so I don't know if this would have helped Isaac because there was like flash flood warnings and stuff, but you can use a pool noodle from the dollar store and put it in the corner of your tent so it pumps up the sides and so nothing will pool in the tent.
It
In
like
the
goes, it kind of goes catty corner
Yeah, catty corner.
over
Over the
a corner, so it kind of like arches up
mm-hmm.
the corner so that it doesn't like sink in because usually
Yes.
the water is going to sink in a low spot near a corner of your booth.
Yes. Yeah. And so that can always help. Also, pulling down the corner of your booth and clamping it, like pulling down the top and clamping it so that it's tight and it is always at a downward angle, and that way it's not ever going to pull up. It'll just fall right off. That's another way to do it as well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
having the right tent, like my tent, your tent, most tents that you're going to spend at least 125, $50 on are going to have the little pole that pushes up in the middle
Yeah.
to like elevate the top so it's actually steeper
I
and
would
stuff
hope
rolls
every
off a
tent
bit.
has that.
Well, if you get
Um,
like a cheap ass like Dick's Sporting Goods tent that
yeah.
just like extends out and it's just like little
Yeah.
angled bars, they might not do that.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about that, also, if you know it's gonna rain and if you think it's gonna rain, I always like if I think it's gonna be fucking bad weather, I'm taking all my shit off the shelves and I'm putting it straight in the middle of the booth. So that is something to be said. Don't trust your shelves. Don't trust your booth.
Yeah, think of
Um,
it if there's gonna be wind or something, like
yeah,
if your sidewall can push into your table,
yeah,
just imagine if it's like as tight as possible. Can it push over whatever it's against?
yeah. So I've put pieces straight on the floor at night, just to make sure. But yeah, definitely. We've had a few listeners have tragic events
Yeah.
recently.
Try to get
And
there early enough to where you're like, okay, we're gonna set up 30 minutes before. Maybe get there
yeah,
a little earlier than that, just in case shit
yeah.
happens and you need to
Yeah, and if you know
figure
that
something
wind's
out on the
coming,
fly.
and if you know that wind's this I feel like this is like an emergency announcement. If you know that wind's coming, drop your tent. So if you can, drop it halfway to like 4 feet and anchor it down, because that'll put it closer to the ground and it will make sure that it's, especially if there's tents around you, it won't catch it and fly it like a kite. So
Yeah, there's only 4 feet for the wind to get underneath it, as opposed to like 6 or 8 feet for the
yeah,
wind to just get underneath the top
right.
and blow.
Yeah.
So
Those are all some tricks that you can use to your advantage if you know that bad weather's coming. So it's a
do
little
you
bit of
ever
a pain
have
in the
the
ass, but better safe than
did you
sorry.
ever get any of those like dog tie kind of like stakes that corkscrew in the ground or anything? You were always on
Nope.
concrete though,
I was
right?
always on concrete.
Yeah. Some people
Yeah.
buy those with like the ratchets. Are they ratchet straps? Is that the right thing?
Yeah.
Where you like go around it and like tighten it with the
Yeah.
little, and you
Yeah,
can
for sure.
like do the corkscrew into the corners and like
Yeah.
do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've never actually like pinned mine into the ground. I've
Oh,
never.
really? I've just
Yeah.
got the stakes that come with the Euramax Euramax tent, and then
Mhm.
I'll do the tent weights too. So I mean, I'm pretty stable, but also I haven't done shows in like heavy weather areas. Like I don't know what, 30, 40 mile an hour winds plus or like torrential rain that's like horizontally falling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've only been in like one, probably like two shows like that,
Yeah.
but not overnight. Like I haven't gone overnight and it's been that bad to where it's like you see tents just fucking destroyed when you get there the
Oh my
next day.
God. That's so depressing when they have those pictures of like everybody's tents just fucking gone. All that work.
Yeah.
So sad. Oh no. That was
What
the
about
first
the
floor gone.
making me yawn.
I'm sorry.
What about the when you were like decking out your van and stuff and you were staying in it, were you making like, you know, anything you would use to stay overnight and all that? Like a mattress and
Oh yeah, you could totally expense that. I mean, not a lot of people just live in their van though, so I wouldn't.
well, I don't know. It depends on it
Yeah,
if you're I mean, some people might have transits and whatever
totally.
vehicles that they can camp out of. Obviously, that
Yeah,
would be
absolutely.
an
Like just like
extension of your business because you have to stay somewhere and all that.
yeah, I had just the best mattress for the back of a car is one of the toddler mattresses from IKEA. Those are the
No, really.
best. I mean,
Does
like,
it like roll up, or is it actually like a firm,
no, it's
like
pretty
hard?
firm, but it's just like they're little, they're like
Mm-hmm.
maybe 5 feet long, and I mean,
It's like
if
a
you can
twin,
handle that.
right?
And no, it's like smaller than a twin. Um,
Oh,
it's a toddler mattress, so it's like 2.5 feet wide and like 5 feet long.
oh, so it's like
So
just enough for the majority of your body weight to just be like right
I'm
in the
comfortable.
middle of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, those are the best. Um, yeah, but yeah, definitely, and snacky snacks and s'mores and stuff. Write those all off, and any trip to Safeway, frozen pizzas, and the fire. Yeah. Um, yeah. Are there any expenses that you've had that you were like, fuck, like I did not prepare for this?
Mm, I mean, usually it's if an opportunity comes up to like buy a kiln or buy an
Mm-hmm.
extra wheel or something. But usually I'm pretty conservative with my money, so I just save most of it. So dropping 350 bucks on another wheel is not really a big deal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Or, it's more like figuring out how to get rid of the thing that is old or,
Yeah.
making room for the thing that I'm buying is kind of like the thing that comes up. But I mean, yeah, there hasn't been anything that's like drastically like crazy. I think just having the money saved to where I'm not so tightly like spending and say like making the money and spending it so tightly
Mm-hmm.
together to where like I can spend it if shit happens.
Yeah, okay, but let's pretend that you don't have that money saved
There,
up. Has there been anything that you're like, fuck?
no.
Like, okay.
All right, is there
Okay.
something you had in mind that you've come
For sure,
across?
like the electrical, the electrical in my last space, like I had to
Oh
completely
yeah.
upgrade the electrical, and that was like, oh shoot, man, you know? And that was probably the biggest, the
Oh
biggest.
yeah. That's definitely a big one. If you're just setting up your studio for the first time, you probably don't have any idea what electricians cost
Yeah.
to set up that stuff. My dad
Yeah.
does the electrical work, so I haven't had to, but the wire is costly as shit. We're actually talking about that for the new house because we went there over the weekend and we were scouting out how we're going to run the electrical from the box into the basement area. And I'm like, how many feet is this going to be? And like, how do you run it efficiently? And then he was like looking up the cord and like the prices of everything went up drastically.
Yeah.
So like
Because of
he was
COVID.
looking up 200 foot of cord and it was like $500 for this like electrical, 60 amp cord.
Yeah.
And like the receptacles aren't that bad. The receptacles are like 25, $30. And then the cord's the most expensive part. And then you got the
Yeah.
breaker. The breaker's not that bad. The breaker's like $30 maybe. Depends on what breaker size you get. If you get a 60, 50,
Yeah.
40, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're setting up a whole new studio, you don't even sometimes you don't even know, like especially if you have an older house. Like, what if you have 100? I had a 125 amp panel at my
Mm-hmm.
house. Like, God even knows why that house didn't burn down. Like,
125 amp. That's it.
that's it for the
Yeah,
whole
I
house.
think ours is technically 150, but my dad was saying that is the max if everything is running on full blast all at one time is kind of
Yeah.
what that means. So like, and with lighting these days, LED bulbs are so little power, not using fluorescence and all that stuff, like it's using so little power
Yeah.
that you're not running the kiln, the refrigerator. I mean, the refrigerator runs on whatever. You're not running like a toaster oven, the kiln, all the lights in the house are on.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. You're running every single thing, furnace, air, whatever. Like it's just not gonna use that much these days with like electrical efficiencies of appliances these days and like all that stuff. So, but yeah, that's a big ticket item.
I think that's one that we sometimes you just kind of like forget about it. Like
Yeah.
mine, okay, so me, when I first moved into the studio, we just got plugs put in, and I think it was maybe $500.
Plugs, like you just got receptacles with a breaker running from the electrical box, and you
Yeah.
just hook the plugs up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we upgraded the electrical to actually manage all of the kilns that we had, and it was
That's a lot of work.
it was like $8,000 to $10,000, I think. And
Yeah.
like that was an expense that I was not prepared to spend at that time. I had to get a loan for it. But yeah, I mean it was a big expense, and it was like something I wasn't prepared for. Oh, also, I thought of another one for the studio is a clay trap system. You can make your own, but it's still going to cost you some money. So, like, you can make your own with like a rubber bucket system, but it still is a fair amount of moolah.
I'm thinking of that too with the new space. I don't technically have. There's water access, but the draining is going to be the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for the short term, I'm going to do a like
Bucket?
Rubbermaid tin or Rubbermaid bucket system where people do the like draining the water into this thing and then let the
You
clay
should have a
settle.
Rubbermaid bucket with a tiny little hose that goes against the wall and then into that drain in the floor.
But that's going to go across the entire room.
Yeah, so it'll go against the
Maybe.
wall.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, you're not technically supposed to drain water that way, so that's why I'm like, I don't know. I just don't want to get clay in it. I just don't want to get a bunch of clay in it, but yeah, we're kind of figuring that out. Yeah, the only other thing that you mentioned that some people might not have an idea of like what it's going to cost is like the kiln vent. That's something that
Yeah.
I mean, I bought an Orton kiln vent. I can't remember if it was $300 or $500. What sounds more reasonable? I think $300.
300.
Yeah, actually, when I bought the whole unit, I think it was 400 because you get the vent, you get the hoses that go from the vent, and then there's like a metal cap that goes to the bottom of your kiln. I don't know what the EnviroVent is with the thing that just sits on the floor instead of the thing that mounts to the wall. I got the Orton Ventmaster, so it actually installs on the wall. But that one was like $400. I was a little bit surprised at that. But it's like it's a one-time, well, not one-time expense. It's an expense that you're gonna do. I actually had to replace mine at one point because it corroded and broke. But I contacted them and they replaced it, just that unit, for like 300 instead of, or 250 or something. So I didn't have to buy the entire thing. But yeah, that was probably the biggest expense that I didn't think about. But just like the electrical, you're gonna, unless you're renting the house or whatever, you're going to pay for the electrical once for your studio. You're going to pay for the vent once. So it's kind of like, you just kind of like bite the bullet and do it. Maybe that's an incentive to sell some work quickly.
Yeah, for sure. It's so funny. It's so funny when you start like when you start a business, especially with pots or something or whatever you're selling. I always remembered Marv and Val sold gourds. They sell gourds in Leavenworth, and Marv is always like, that's a whole gourd." Like that
Oh,
costs
like the cost.
Yeah. Like, I could make one gourd for that. And it's so funny because it's so true. Like when you're like $20, okay, that's a mug. Okay, I have to sell one mug. But at the end of the day, it's not one mug because you have to consider the cost that goes into that mug.
And
but
the materials and paying for your labor. It's not just like the profit.
Yeah. Yeah, but I always think that's funny. Also, I was thinking about the kiln vent and how we had a kiln in our studio, and we have to have the kiln vent hooked up for the fire department, and so we just shoved the vent under it so it looked like it was hooked up, but it wasn't because we were borrowing. No, we were borrowing a kiln. It was never glaze fired. We borrowed a kiln, and we didn't want to drill a hole in the bottom of this kiln because it was not ours. And so we just shoved the vent under it so it looked like it was vented.
Yeah, because you'd have to take the shelves out and all that. I mean,
Yeah,
the thing is about the vent, like they're only like 3/8 inch holes in the
I
bottom.
know, but
It's
it
not
wasn't
like a
our kiln.
gigantical. I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't our kiln, so we were borrowing it. But yeah, I thought that was so funny. Uh, yeah, and oh, also, I feel like shelves are one of those expenses that you're like, what the fuck? Why did that just cost me $200?
They do.
like,
Yeah. I don't think I've technically ever bought any brand new shelves because I'm
oh
a cheap
yeah.
ass. But actually, those rolling carts that I got, like those big metal ones, we
Mm-hmm.
got 3 of those. I think I spent 200 or $250 for those because they're like heavy duty carts.
Yeah.
I think I spent $200 for them or something, but like they had to bring them over and deliver them because they're so big. Like we're gonna have to have the movers to move those because they're ginormous. Um, but yeah, those are pretty sweet. Shelving is underestimated though. Like having some good shelving. I was so paranoid. The old shelving I had, the wooden shelving with like nothing in the
Yeah.
middle, and it was like 6 foot
Rickety.
wide. It was
Yeah.
like I would put as much stuff piled on there, bisqueware, greenware, whatever, and I would see it like bowing a little bit, and I'm like, I'm just waiting for the day that this thing just comes crashing down,
Just snaps.
and I
Yeah, I
know it's
know.
gonna happen, and it never happened, but I was like almost there.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like not unexpected, but underestimated. Like, yes, shelving is so fucking expensive. Like, I remember when I swear to God, I've built so many shelves. Like, if there is a shelf unit out there, I've built it.
What do you all have in the studio? You all have a variety of the metal ones and
We have the
like
metal rolling carts, like the NSF ones
yeah.
that they use in kitchens. So we have those, and then we have some rickety ass wooden ones, and then we have some super rickety um, baking rack
Hmm.
shelves. If you're hand building, baking racks are the way to go for sure. But
Are you all generally rolling them around the studio a lot? You
yeah,
probably
we
are,
roll them
right?
everywhere,
Yeah.
and the studio's not flat, so it's like got some
Yeah.
moments.
I never roll mine even though they're on wheels, but
Yeah.
yeah, keep that in mind.
Yeah, but yeah, I do feel like shelving is so underestimated because you can't spend less than $100 on a real good shelf.
Hmm.
Like
If it's new.
if it's new, it's gonna be $100, and that took a long time for me to come to terms with. like, like
Yeah.
even if you build it, it'll be $100. Like
Right.
it's gonna be expensive regardless. Like wood is expensive right now. Screws are expensive. If you don't have a drill, that's gonna be $200 anyway. But like or 100. But if you get a good one.
What about the material? Like, do you have a recommended material? You all deal in big quantity, so like, is there a wood over metal over like preference there? Mine are metal,
Uh
so I know mine are not gonna like bend or
yeah.
anything, and they can withstand the weight. But
Like personally, my personal preference, if you don't need it to move, I like a wood shelf. Because you can put a plywood down or whatever and it's flat. Just make sure you're attaching the plywood so it doesn't warp. But yeah, I'm a fan of wood shelves mostly because you can build them specifically to what you need, you know?
right.
So that's like super nice. And it'll cost you a little bit more, but you're going to get exactly what you want. And
Hmm.
so, like, we have these IKEA shelves too, the ones
That's
that
what's in the right
we had
behind you.
talked about. I think they're called Ivars, IVAR.
I
Um,
think Tara and Matt have them in their studio for
yeah,
Fish
I
Pine,
think so.
and
And those are great, except for if you're putting anything wet on them, the shelving is not sturdy enough. It's like really, it's pine, so it just takes in the moisture and it just fucking bows like
yeah,
immediately. I put some plates on it and it was like, oh no, never mind. I'm just gonna warp this
yeah.
plate.
So
Uh,
put stuff on bats on that if you're
Yeah,
gonna put it
so you
wet.
just have to be kind of like careful with that. But I always do chipboard or compressed hardboard as the base.
Hmm.
And I always do like 3/4 inch
Yeah, I
because
generally work on like drywall wear boards, and then once something gets close to bone dry, I would put
yeah,
it on the shelf at that point. Because I used to have the wooden shelves, and it wasn't like sealed or polyed or anything,
hmm,
and the shelf was like attached, but it would still bow a little bit
yeah,
just from sitting like greenware on them, not like wet off the wheel. I'm not
yeah.
doing that, but Like even if it's still like leather hard, there's still moisture gonna get into
Yeah.
it. So
I'm a huge fan of I'm a huge fan of wearboards and a shell shelf. So where it's just bars across,
shell shelf.
a
Okay.
shell of a shelf,
Just like a
essentially.
skeleton.
Yeah, a skeleton. So it's just bars across, and you can put the wearboards on it, because then you're not warping the shelf, and it's, they don't look nice by any mean, but they are extraordinarily functional, and
Yeah.
you
Just
can
looks like
move
a
your
big
boards
empty
anywhere.
box when there's nothing on it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
there's a bunch
exactly.
of
It just looks
like
like a box that your cats can climb up like a ladder. Um, but those are the type of shelves that I'm really a huge fan of. But I do love these metal rolly shelves. They're great.
yeah.
They could come with a few more shelves on them, but they're great. Don't get the
Yeah.
ones from IKEA though. Those are fucking dumb. They tilt.
I've never had like a reason to need to roll carts around, but you all are in a big studio, so I can see the need for that. You're rolling
Yeah.
throne work to a person that's trimming. You don't want to
Yeah.
carry over 5 boards of work that could
Right.
potentially fall off or whatever. But yeah, working in an individual studio, I just don't have a need to roll anything. And it just feels like more risk to roll like greenware over to the kiln to load up or rolling glazed ware. I just work
Yeah.
board to board and
M-
transport boards, but
my favorite my favorite item that I had, I didn't roll carts as much. No, wait. Towards the end I did. I rolled like rolling carts like these. But since I deal with wearboards mostly in my personal studio, I have one of those carts that's like it's like a, I don't know, like the one that has like the divot, and it's like a big 4-foot cart, and it has the side, and then it's like the fiberglass material, it's not metal. And like they have them in huge spaces all the time. I don't know. They sell them at Uline. But one of my neighbors found one at a job site, and it had a hole in it, and so they were throwing it away. So he just dropped it off at my house, and it's been the best cart because I can fit 3 wearboards on it and just cart
mhm.
it down the way.
What's it made
And
out of?
it's like fiberglass. It's like a
Is
like
it like
melamine.
is it does it have like a big lip on it? Is it one of
Yeah,
those that
yeah,
just
yeah,
has like it's a sunken lip on the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
inside?
yeah. And then there's a bottom shelf too.
Okay.
And
So it's pretty
yeah,
light. It's like a lightweight generally and it's got decent wheels on it.
it's got decent wheels for sure. And I use that all the time, and if I'd had to spend money on it, it would have been like 150 bucks, you know? But like those type of items can make your life so easy. Or like having a rolling cart can make your life so easy. And I think that sometimes we as business owners overlook the fact that making something easy for you saves you money in the long run. And
Right.
and I mean, like, if you have the money, you know, like if you
Yeah.
don't have the money, don't spend the money. But if you have the money and you're like walking
This would
along
make
the
my
way,
life easier.
yeah, and this would make my life easier, then I think that it's generally a good idea to spend the money to do that. It's like like um I bought a tiny little rolling cart for my kiln shelves because I used to walk my kiln shelves all the way around the kiln for my big oval kiln. And then I finally just bought a fucking cart, and I put all the kiln shelves on the cart, and I would just roll it out in front of me so I didn't have to walk all the way around. I mean, those kiln shelves cost $200 a pop, when they were the advancer kiln shelves. So yeah, it made sense to spend $20 on a cart that prevented me from walking and potentially dropping something,
Or even like just having to bend over and put it on the ground or something.
Yeah.
Saves your
Yeah.
back over time just putting it on something that's
Right.
movable.
Yeah. Um so yeah, I think that I mean, yeah, we
I feel like some studios like do you feel like sometimes you're just like I'm just getting these things that people are just throwing away sometimes like finding just random trash. I mean, I've probably got like I don't know, at least 10 things that people just fucking getting rid of that like become wear boards in my studio or like buckets that you just get that are whatever, or like little, shelving units or whatever. It's like I feel like you either have like a thrifty like way of just coming about items that are like, you know what, that might be good for this use in my studio, and it was free, or it was like $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
You just were able to get it home. And then some people are like, I want my studio to look really nice.
I'm like somewhere in the middle, but definitely not at the trash end anymore.
Yeah.
Like oh my God. I think after after I moved my home studio, I was like, fuck that. Like
I'm
I
still in a
am
home studio, so I feel like I'm gonna move a lot of the same shit over to the new studio. But I'm like, I mean, I don't care about the aesthetic of it. I'm just like, is it
right.
functional? Can I get around it?
Right. But
Can
like
I do
sometimes you
what I
get
need?
trash and you just like put it in the corner and I just had so much stuff that I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe I'll use these." and, and I was like I moved it all and I was like, "Oh my God, that was so much shit." Like
Yeah,
why do I have all this shit? Or and
yeah.
I also grew up with a father who bought 7 crock pots because and they all worked, but not as good as one functionally perfect crock pot. Like he bought them all for $2, but he probably could have bought like the new one for the same cost as all of the 7 of them. Like
Oh, he
they
paid
all
two
have,
dollars each.
yeah, because he got them at Goodwill. And like, you know, so I grew up seeing that and being like, what the fuck, Dad? Like, why do you have 7 Craftsman drills that none of them work? Like, just buy a fucking DeWalt drill and like spend the money.
Right.
you know so like for certain things I
Yeah. Yeah,
definitely
we were using shitty old we had like old batteries and stuff for our drills, and we just upgraded the drills. So like I primarily used that one drill in the studio with the good batteries and stuff, and
yeah
I actually just sold the set of the drill, weed whacker, cordless saw, and like all these things that matched up with these shitty old batteries from Black and Decker. And I was like, take it all, $50, take all of it. And this guy
just
was just fucking ecstatic about it.
yeah, just take it. Yeah, like my dad swears or used to swear by Craftsman. I feel like I've weeded it out of him a little bit. I used to throw things away in high school. I used to like find drills and be like, this doesn't work, and just chuck it in the trash. Without him knowing. He grew up super duper poor, and so he's all about like the cheap stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, so
I get that.
I had a good healthy boundaries of that growing up.
Well,
So I
plus growing up in that, you're like, you know what it can lead to.
yeah,
So you're
for
like,
sure.
you gotta kind of be on the. So I mean, shit, I get stuff all the time. My mom's side, like my grandfather's like hoards a lot, and she
Yeah.
gets some of that, and I get some of that. So like, we'll get bins of just plastic tubs that like I could probably put some raw materials in it. Like it might be nice, but it doesn't like screw
Screw
lids.
all
So
the
like
way. Yeah.
I probably need to recycle this thing because it just snaps on. Like if that thing falls on the ground, it's just gonna pop out, and
It's 95% good.
it's like it's okay, but like it seems like a nicety to have a thing that screws on, or you could just keep it in the fucking bag that it come in. Like it's not
Yeah.
really hurting anything. Um,
Yeah, totally.
but yeah,
Yeah, I
like I got the
definitely am. I'm 100% one of those people that's like, I don't care. I'll keep it in the bag. Like, my
yeah,
studio doesn't have to look nice. It has to be functional. There's a difference between nice and functional. And
yeah.
I'm,
Especially if you're gonna mix those glazes like once every couple months or something. Like
yeah,
it
just keep
doesn't
them in the bag.
have to be super nice as long as it's like sealed from water and you're not gonna get a bunch of water that just falls on it or something.
Yeah. Just make sure
Um,
you label it correctly.
yeah,
You'll be
yeah.
fine.
Label it. But yeah, the funniest like pickup thing that I got was the next door neighbor was throwing out a 6 foot table. It's one of those like heavy duty, like if you went to like grade school and you had those like folding tables that are like they look like wood on the top, but it's like little thin bullshit like paper that has that wood grain look to it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it's so fucking dense. I got one of those in my studio. It's like it's a good heavy duty table, but I'm like that thing
I'm
was next door on the side of the road.
I'm so sad because I actually also got one of those tables. It's got like a fucking metal legs and it weighs 500 pounds. Um, I got one of those when I was in my studio in Seattle, downtown Seattle, back in 2013. And I was like, I'm gonna die with this table. It's so beautiful and it like has paint all over it and it's just like
Oh,
it's like
nice.
the perfect crafty table and I had it in my studio in Monroe and when I left I sold it. And I thankfully sold it to a friend who's going to use it as a craft table for
Sold it. At least you were able to sell it. I was thinking it was one of those where it's like it's bound for the trash
No, it was beautiful, Ryan.
because of all
And
the
it's
craft and the
sturdy.
paint and everything.
Yeah, it's
Those are
sturdy.
pretty sturdy tables.
Yeah,
I'm still gonna use it in my
that
studio,
fucker
but
could that fucker could survive a bomb. Um
it's probably a
and
good. I think I'm gonna use it for like glazing. I think I might put it on
yeah,
a wall and put the glazes under it, and it's nice and sturdy.
I'm just so sad that I wasn't able to bring it with me, because that was when I thought that I was,
And that's
I
also
don't
when you probably don't want to move because it does like that thing by itself. If it's like my 6 foot one, it probably weighs like 40 pounds, 50 pounds,
Mhm.
like
This
that.
one probably weighs 80.
Like yeah, and if it's an 8 foot table, like those things are
Yeah.
heavy duty.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't know. We kind of got off topic there, but I felt like it was okay.
Yeah. I'm sure I will be getting rid of some shit as we clean out the studio.
Oh, I hope so.
I'm prepping to I've been slowly getting rid of some things like some old glazes that have been sitting around and some
Throw it
whatever.
away. Just toss it.
I actually dumped a lot of the dry glazes into my mystery bucket, so I'm gonna reconstitute that and see what happens.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, I also have this big trash can that I got from somebody that had reclaim in it that I already took all the reclaim out and reconstituted it and like used it already. I don't know what to do with this big trash can. I guess we can just have another trash can at the house. But I'm like, I'm not throwing reclaim in this thing. But like, I don't really have a use for
Oh yeah, huh? Well, you could
it's
use it as it
it's like
rains a lot in the winter,
it's
right? So you could use it as like a water bucket and then use that to water plants.
oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Like a
like a rain
rain
catcher.
barrel.
Yeah, a rain barrel.
Hmm.
You could take it off the roof
Yeah, that's a good idea
and
actually.
then all the crappy stuff should float to the top and then you can attach a hose to the bottom. You can put a spigot on the bottom, attach the hose, and then you can water your plants with that. Did you know that's actually illegal in Washington? It's illegal to have a rain bucket.
Why?
Isn't that bullshit? I don't know. It's the rainiest
You're
state in the fucking
collecting
country.
rain. You're collecting rain from the sky. How is that illegal?
I don't know. I don't know, but it is.
That sounds like perfect replace, reuse, recycle. Like
Yeah. They're like, you have to buy water from us.
sounds like bullshit. How
It
do
is.
they know? Do they actually like police this, or
It's
is it
no. I
just
mean, nobody
is it?
does anything about it. So.
I see you have a rain barrel. You can sell this house with a rain barrel attached to it.
That's like that law that it's illegal to walk over a cow grate in high heels in like Nebraska or something like that.
There's something in Kentucky where you can't walk with a ice cream cone in your pocket or something. I don't know if it's still a thing, but is that like the it's illegal to drive with your bare feet or something? Like
No, that's actually dangerous. But no, this one's like you know what a cow grate is, right?
is that
You
the
don't.
things where you don't get on the property because there's little the rolling grates so the cows can't get onto that property? Is that what the cow grates
They
are?
don't roll, but they are spaced out, and there's usually like a 6-inch gap to the ground, and
Mm-hmm.
but it's flush with the cement, and cows can't walk over it, so they don't leave. So it's cow
Right.
grate. But in like one of the states, one of like the country states, the rural states, it is illegal to walk over one of them in high heels.
Illegal to walk over one in high heels. So you just got to get your hurdle game on and just like hurdle that bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also this is our like weird trivia that may or may not be true. Like we haven't fact checked this. But like it's also in the last I heard in Wyoming, if you kill a man's horse, it is still legal to hang you. Death by hanging
What
is
state?
the punishment in Wyoming if you
Wyoming.
kill a man's horse.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So don't
That's
kill
horse,
anybody's
not whores, right?
horse.
Horse. Horse, okay.
Yeah, no.
The only time I remember seeing the cow, what do you call it? A cow grate?
Yeah.
The only time I saw one of those is in we were in Ireland and there was a golf course that I like played like a par 3 or whatever, and there was a cow grate getting into that parking lot, so the cows I guess didn't get on the golf course and like eat the grass or whatever. That's the
Oh
only
yeah.
time that I've seen one.
Crazy.
That's your trivia for the day.
Oh, did you know? Oh shit! I just looked it up on the internet about hanging. Hanging hasn't been the primary method of execution in the United States since the 19th century. The last public hanging occurred in Kentucky in 1936. Since the death penalty was reinstated nationwide in 1976, only 3 inmates have been hanged. The hanging is only legal. Oh, I'm wrong. Only legal in Delaware, New Hampshire, and Washington. Those seem like weird states for it to be
Did
legal.
they mention the whole thing that you just mentioned about the killing the
No,
horse? All right, so you just pulled that out of your ass and just made that up, or what?
no, I didn't pull it out of my ass, okay? But I'm looking it up, but I don't know if it's right or wrong. So that's what I heard when I lived in Colorado.
Maybe that was just a deterrent for people to like not go to Wyoming or something.
Maybe.
Don't go horseback riding in Wyoming. You might come across a situation that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
Covered the fucking gamut today.
Yeah, we did. We went on a little tangent.
Yeah.
At an hour 20, I was like, we're not gonna get through this.
Oh, we're pushing 2 here.
Yeah. We got it.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, don't forget to go to the Patreon and support us if you want, or don't if you don't.
Yeah. I hope you like that outro. I like the new outro. It's funny.
I like the new outro too. And that was real life too. I like forgot in the moment what I was
Yeah, we were on our vacation trip and we were in the hotel and she was like, I'm gonna re-record this. I don't know if it's you were editing the episode and you just got tired of hearing the same thing over and over. So you're like, we'll record it.
Yeah. It was good. Okay. Peace.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay.
156.
It's 156. I am so tired.
What I've been doing, so I have had to get up at 8:30 or whatever, shower and then work. And I keep like having meetings all the way till like noon or 1. And then by that time I'm like, okay. And then I get like an hour to do something like actually work related. And then I eat lunch at like 2 or 3. And people are pinging me all day. And then by the time it hits 5, I'm like fucking tired. And I like today I napped for like half an hour after work because I was like, so tired.
Your brain is being used more than normal.
Yeah. I mean, when you just go from meeting to meeting and it's like back to back and some of them like I'm leading because the person's working under me, so I'm like checking in with them and like seeing if there's any issues or whatever. So it's kind of a lot, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm working harder than I have since I started working there. Sometimes it's nice to just work on your own and not have people that like rely on you for tons of things.
Yeah.
And the one of my like coworkers is out on paternity leave until basically the end of the year or like December. So I'm kind of like anything that comes up with the people he has under him, like ask me questions. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
Definitely wouldn't want to people manage. I mean, I could probably manage like a couple people, but like if that was
Yeah.
my only thing that I was doing, like that wouldn't be terrible. But
Yeah. So, Allie, our trimmer, quit this week.
yeah,
So we have to train a new trimmer. Like, she's gonna quit. Like, she's gonna leave in like a month, you know?
okay. Was that the one that we were talking about that was finding a new job and stuff? Okay.
Mhm.
So she left early because of the other, or I don't know if we're still recording, but
Oh, no.
is it just she's leaving? She's leaving early to start the new job?
No, she doesn't have a new job. She didn't get that job. She just put in her notice. She basically is taking it by faith. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
she's just,
Gotcha.
she's just done. She's worked there for a long time, and I think just the monotonous part of trimming is getting to her.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you have to throw something else in the mix besides just trimming. Even if you just learned, say like, I mean, do you all meet as like with Rebecca and stuff yearly or something and say like, how have you been doing? Like, what do you want to learn? How do we keep it interesting for you?
Oh, I
Like,
think
do
she
you
does
do
that.
stuff like
Yeah,
that?
she does that just like generally, just every once in a while.
Okay. Because I know some people like you have to kind of pull it out of them. Like, what do you want to do? What are you
Yeah.
liking? What are you not liking? And some people are like, they'll tell you and they, hey, can I learn this thing?
Yeah. Well, she's wanted to go to New York and stuff for a long time, so like she's it's just time for her to move on, you know. It'll be great. It'll be great for her.
Yeah. I'm naming this one Unexpected Expenses.
Cool.
I released the short one this midday today once I
Okay.
got a free moment.
Did you put it in the box already in the drive?
Which one?
The current one?
I mean, I just saved it for a second, so it's still
Okay.
processing it. Man, this new computer is nice. No whirling, stays in the same spot, plenty of screen real estate.
It's amazing what
It's
some
nice.
updated technology.
Yeah. And then with the Macs, like having the separate desktops is sweet with like swiping between them. And you
Oh,
have this much space that like you can do everything you need and just swipe between desktops. Like easy
yeah.
peasy. You don't even need another monitor.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
And then I have these like emails I've been meaning to get to and like not necessarily reply to, but there's like emails I need to act on and actually do things for. Ugh, just kind of
Oh my
overwhelming.
god. I gave Babs a bath.
Really? Why'd you do that?
I thought she had fleas. She might still have fleas. Oh, what a moment.
Did she didn't like the water, I'm guessing.
She's a cat. She,
Some cats are fine. Like Autumn is pretty submissive in the water, so like she'll like squirm a little bit, but she'll just kind of deal with it. Actually, hold on, maybe that's Marble. I think Autumn's pretty submissive. Like,
she kind of dealt with it. I had to like hold her down, and she like tried to get away. It was an experience for both me and her. There was like cat hair all over the bathtub. We were trying to like get away, and
yeah,
like I felt so bad. I was like holding her down. I was like, I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sometimes just having the water like kind of not in their face, but like rush, like getting their back wet and stuff
Mhm.
instead of like dunking,
Oh
like
yeah,
kind of like
yeah, definitely, yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
that's where Autumn's pretty submissive about it. Like she'll kind of meow,
Mhm.
meow,
Yeah. I use the
and
shower.
then she'll just kind of like just be okay with it. But yeah, Marble is a little more crazy about it. Still processing here. Yeah, so we talked with a realtor today. They actually talked about first off they're gonna give us the mower that's there.
They are.
Yeah. And I think we're gonna close on the 24th possibly instead of the 29th, 28th.
Oh, nice.
So we'll close a little bit earlier, depending on the lending side of it, if the lending is all scheduled and ready to go. He was like they fixed basically everything. They went a little bit over budget on the every some of the other stuff, so like they couldn't put the garage door eye thing, the like sensor that kicks it open if it catches. We basically would have to upgrade the whole garage door unit to the motor and stuff because it's not a model that's easy to just add one to it.
Yeah.
So we'll probably have to do that ourselves.
Did you put it on the drive yet?
No, it's still processing it. Okay, it
Why
just
does it
finished.
take so long?
It just finished.
Okay.
So impatient. All right, drive. I need to clear some stuff off my drive. It's getting pretty full. All right, here we go. It's uploading. 1 minute left.
Hooray! Hooray! Come on.
Are you gonna start like putting it together tonight?
No, I just want to download it so I can do it in my apartment.
Gotcha.
Because it takes like 10 years to download in the apartment, so.
Yeah. What internet service do you all have there?
This is I think here it's AT&T
Oh, okay.
or Spectrum.
Probably Spectrum. Yeah,
Uh,
either
I,
or.
I had Spectrum in my old apartment, but obviously I don't have internet now, but uh where did it go? Did it upload?
Less than a minute. So fucking impatient.
Yeah, I gotta make sure to do it on Friday before I start my day.
Gotcha.
It'd be good next week to do too, because we have our Amy talk.
Yeah, we'll talk with Amy on the 15th. Rachel's actually going to be out of town for recurrent Tuesday through Friday. Um, so yeah, that should be fine. What do you have a preference? We'll talk with Amy at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. I don't want to do it the same day, but do you want to just pick a Tuesday or Thursday and
Um,
go with it?
yeah, I'm good with. How
Just
about
finished. It just finished.
how about we do Thursday because then um how about we do Thursday because I feel like maybe we'll get some topic ideas from Amy that we can kind of jet off of.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I feel like we need to. I don't know. I feel like there's some. It feels like there's a lull in topics, but I mean, we could always ask the audience, like, are there specific topics that
Yeah.
we haven't? I don't know.
I think while
I
we
mean,
have like lull topics, it might be good to just go heavy on interviews for a while. You know?
that's fine.
I mean,
I
that'll
mean,
also build the audience.
yeah, that will. I think it'll be good to, we can obviously talk about like setting up a new studio because I'll be going through that and like
Mm-hmm.
what you have to do and um, considerations.
Yeah.
Um, I wish there was a way. I still want to see if I'm gonna move this Lindy question.
Okay. Got
I
it
want it.
download.
I wish there was a way that like talking about the tracking of expenses and stuff would come across for audio better.
Mm.
That like I could talk to, but I don't know how to explain that necessarily through audio of like
Yeah, that'd be tough. Well,
because it's
that could
very
be, that could be something we could put on the Patreon.
yeah. Because I'm trying to I feel like I want to put it together as a it doesn't have to be exclusive, but I want to put something together that I can sell at some point. That's either a like a maybe you get a 45-minute video or 30-minute video talking through it, and then you also get the Excel and the Google Docs from it
Yeah.
that you can like start using. Um, that way they can kind of roll with it. But yeah, we'll see. It needs some thought for sure. Maybe that'll be some downtime I'll use in the winter, this winter.
I think it might behoove us to take a trip somewhere, just the two of us, and Rachel could come too, but to like hash out some ideas. Like we need to like just specifically
Talk
like
about like what are some
mm,
topics, how could we approach it from this
yeah.
angle. Um, yeah, how much do you? I mean, I feel like it's kind of good market research to just see what other podcasts in the
Yeah.
space are doing too, to like see what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to like take their idea and say, here's our interpretation of this topic.
Right, yeah.
Because some of them are, getting more technical with, that uh what the flux or whatever, or what's it called? High flux
Yeah.
or
What the flux? Is it what the flux? It should be what the flux.
I don't think that's what it's called, but it's something like that.
Well, it should be.
It's called For Flux Sake.
Oh, for flux sake. I mean, that's equally good.
That's great.
But what the
Um,
flux would have been funnier.
what the flux? Yeah. Um, that's funny.
That's okay. We can do an episode and we'll call it What the Flux.
What the flux? Oh my gosh, it would be. I think it would be fun to have like a John Britt on and like ask him questions of like, what?
That would be cool.
That would be cool, and like ask him questions as like dumbed down, like we don't know the sciencey shit. Like he's super
Yeah.
sciencey, but like having sciencey kind of people, like Link was pretty sciencey, and having somebody like that
Yeah.
that they can dumb it down for us and like let us know why this thing is important, or like explain things that people happen to see in their studios or happen to see in their process that they didn't understand, and he tells us like some sciencey thing that like explains it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why this happens. Like when Link was talking about the clay settling and stuff, I was like, oh, okay, bentonite, gotcha. Didn't think about
You
that.
know who I want to talk to? Dick Layman.
Dick Layman. Who is that?
Yeah.
I recognize the name.
I'm sending you his Instagram right now. He just seems like the sweetest human being on the face of the planet.
I feel like I recognize that name.
He has great work. His work is renowned. Like people, it's a thing.
Whoa,
His work is phenomenal.
man. How does he
Yeah.
fire it?
I
Is it
think
all wood?
he's gas and wood, but I'm not sure.
The cleanliness of the kiln makes me think it's gas.
You mean how not cleanly it is?
No, I mean like the kiln
Oh,
walls and
the inside
everything.
bricks. Yeah. I was like, did you see the shelves?
No, the kiln walls make me think that it's like a gas firing.
Yeah, his pieces are just so wonderful. And I was watching some of his stories, and he just seems like a sweet human being. And Rebecca said he's super sweet. And his pieces are just, oh God. And he has a mustache, like one of those handlebar mustaches that you see in like the Westerns.
He's got that like Bill Van Gilder mustache look.
Yeah, it's fucking fabulous.
He follows me.
He does?
Follow back.
I don't know if he follows me or not. But he just looks like a sweet man and like super wise. He just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard him speak or anything, but stuff
He's
like
just like
great.
one of those old school Potters, that you just like shut up and listen to.
Mm-hmm. Man, those glazes run like a son of a bitch.
Yeah, they do.
Must be like slow cooling it and stuff, and
God, they're
super cool
so
services
beautiful.
though.
I've wanted to get one for such a long time. They're kind of expensive, but like worth it. And yeah,
Dick Layman.
but like, I mean, they're really not that expensive. Like
I was
this,
gonna say they're not as expensive as I thought. I mean, the T-bowls are.
yeah, but look at this one. This is $45. It's so pretty.
Wow. There's Trevor on here.
What?
Goshen Clay Community, a documentary short. Trevor Clayworks is on the bottom of his homepage.
Oh, yeah, because he's in he's in Goshen. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are sweet.
Yeah, we could go up
Oh,
and talk to him in person.
in the studio with Dick Layman.
Yeah. Oh, I should reach out to him. We should reach out to him. Okay, I just.
Yeah, I think that could be a fun like addition, of the
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the like visiting people and stuff.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's an opportunity to do a little bit more of that.
Totally. Okay, we have to leave because I'm fucking tired.
Okay. Do we also need to think about pot swap soon because it's creeping up. Saw that face. I think we just delegate a lot of stuff, Becca. I think it's fine. It's fine for us to delegate some. Like I'm fine with teaching some of these things to some other people
Yeah.
and like hosted by Ryan and Becca. But this team, I'm fine with some
Well, and we
group
could pay them
ownership.
too. I mean, we can give them something too because we have money now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we can ask people to donate to the cause, and that's going to help the team run it.
Yeah. That's a great
Like
idea.
asking people to just donate to a account.
Like
I think we
$5.
have a yeah, five
Remember
bucks or what.
we did a Venmo, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we set up a Venmo account. Was that a Wheel Talk Venmo or was it just one of our Venmos?
I can't remember.
I can look it up. But yeah, we need to get that group together and kind of we need to talk about it first and then we need to
Yeah.
get the group and figure out what to do there.
Okay.
It looks
Ugh.
like we have a
Are we rooting
PayPal.
for eight? Are we rooting for 800 people this year? Are we doing 600?
We can do whatever. I mean, whatever's manageable. I think the mail merge can handle whatever we go with. We're still paying for the mail merge, so or
Okay.
the renewal will come up here in this fall. So
It was like $10, wasn't it? It wasn't
I think it
expensive.
was $50.
Was it 50?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. But either way, we have the resources if we go that route,
Okay.
and we can make it happen. I mean, honestly, I think the people. It's like a group thing. If there's more people, more hands in the pot, the less work for each person to do. So
Yeah.
as long as people understand what they're doing and can take
I
some
just get
ownership
concerned.
ownership of it,
Yeah, I love it, and I love including all of the other countries, but it is such a fucking pain in the ass. Like
yeah, it's hard to just say I don't want to include anybody outside the U.S. or Canada because it just seems like you're excluding everybody or a lot of people that are totally valid like participants
yeah, but then
that
there's like
always participate and
yeah,
then there's just problems that arise when you're shipping internationally.
yeah.
the cost and the delays, and shit shows up like 3 months late, and then the
Yeah.
whole tariff things and the like. I don't know the solution for that.
I don't know the solution either. So
And we don't have enough people that are in countries that can ship it to other people in their own countries. Unless we
right.
did like the UK only and UK, Canada, US, then it's like, I mean, eh.
Yeah.
Then it seems a little exclusive for me. I don't know. I feel like we should keep it open.
Yeah. Oh God. So much pain. Okay, I gotta go. I
All right.
I threw
Bye.
180 cups today. I'm like done.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.